Hello, everybody, and welcome to Spitballing. I'm Matt Taylor here with my good buddy
Kyle Amundsen.
And we have Dr. Sam Gibbons in the house.
How you doing?
So, Sam, you're our first guest that's ever made a comeback.
Yeah, what's up with that? You
Well,
guys were desperate.
We were pretty dissatisfied. I mean, we only had 45 minutes with you,
Something like that, yeah.
The first time around, and just like the fights back in the day, we needed a doctor.
Yeah.
Right. That's true.
I wish I'd worn my lab coat. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We fucking talked about that.
Well, right now, I wish I'd worn my fucking parka because it's freezing in here. And, but soon the studio, we were just talking about it on the break, but soon the studio will be ready. So this is kind of our second go at this. Sam, Dr. Sam, even though very, very smart, has no idea how to push record on a camera.
Yeah. It's my fault.
Okay, it was my fault.
I apologize. Unreservedly.
We had a great hour of conversation that you guys will never see, and I will not remember, which is pretty typical.
Actually, it's pretty good because that's the last thing we were talking about, and now we can go through this all again.
Right.
You.
Right. Yeah, I don't have much of a memory. Some of you know that. All right. Well, Kyle, what do you have on your list there?
Well, the first thing on my list, now that I nixed that whole Peaky Blinders bit.
Yeah, thank God.
Was,
that was boring.
I fell over it. Was The Walking Dead, because the season, season 9, season 10, whatever the fuck.
31.
Too many seasons. No, maybe not too many. It's a good show. But the series, the season just premiered. By the time people see this, there will be 2 episodes into the season.
I'm not sure.
So far, I've not heard good things. Our fact checker was not impressed, and actually last season kind of left me high and dry.
See, I really liked the last season. I liked that they had kind of moved on.
No spoilers. I have not seen the last 3 or 4 seasons.
It's okay. I'm not going to say anything particular, but just that they had moved on and you can start seeing them, they're using horses and doing stuff like that. And I kind of liked that part of it. One of my issues with The Walking Dead ever since the very beginning, though, was that, I don't fucking think these are the people that would have made it, because they don't seem like it seems like very few of them have any actual real survival skills. I don't know. I just so some of that part of it bothers me. Why didn't, when they were raiding all those places, why didn't any of them pick up fucking water filtration systems? Why does nobody have a camel pack? I mean, what exactly is going on with this?
Didn't Glenn spend the first 7 seasons just he was in every store getting everything, and he's probably the greatest survivalist on that show. Right.
And still yet didn't get filters. Though Glenn definitely was my favorite character in the show, and then Negan bashed his fucking head in with a baseball bat.
What? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, we in the part that you won't see, the part that did not record, we talked about the characters that we really enjoyed. The character, thanks to character development, I think we don't, without giving away too much, Negan kind of awesome.
Yes.
I'm a Rick Grimes guy, and these guys are not.
I'm not a Rick Grimes guy. Fuck that guy.
I see. I always he was always just kind of badass. Shit that would kill normal people.
He wanted to kill everybody, but he had some sort of weird ethos that was holding him back the entire time.
Yeah, that's a big thing I have an issue with, is that whole I'm telling you, if the fucking end comes, as soon as that line is crossed, I don't think I'm gonna have any hesitation.
We had the benefit of seeing The Road Warrior when we were kids. So we know how shit's supposed to go. We know how to operate in the wasteland in that dystopian future.
Yeah.
And, that means that, you hit the weights, which, okay, already checked off the list. Get yourself some S&M gear.
I checked that off the list. Yeah.
Check that off the list, too. And perhaps a goalie mask, and...
Not a bad idea.
And then you're the Humongous.
Have you gone as the Humongous yet for Halloween?
No, but I fucking love that character.
You should totally be that guy.
Did you see my Humongous shirt? That,
Yeah.
Just walk away.
Yeah.
And I love his he doesn't get to do a lot of talking, but all the talking that he like almost every bit of talking that he does get to do in that movie are these great speeches, and he's using his hands and he's talking and
it's because they're not going to use his voice, and he knows they're not going to use his voice because he's behind a metal mask.
Yeah. But
speaking of, did you see the Rick and Morty episode that kind of plays off of that, or did you watch that show?
I do not watch that show. Oddly enough, the only episode of that show that I have seen is that episode.
Oh, well, okay, well, makes sense.
That's fortuitous.
I've never seen Rick and Morty. So.
It's pretty good. It's funny.
It's not quite it's not quite Archer funny, but it might be as good as the Venture Brothers.
I think it's better than. I think it's on par with Archer.
You think so?
Yeah.
I think Archer was fucking fantastic, but I couldn't watch the last season. It just didn't.
It's fizzling. It's fizzling hard. Yeah. I'm watching the last episode or the last season, and I'm just kind of, I don't know, maybe I'm fucking over it. I don't know, but that shit is. I mean, that shit.
The first few seasons of it were fucking hilarious.
Oh my god!
My favorite phrase from that is the Pele of anal. I fucking love that because it's a reference to Pele. I know that from somewhere.
It's like Meowschwitz in there.
I still use like phrasing. Are we still doing phrasing? Like, quite often. Like whenever somebody says something at work that could be taken out of context. Are we still using phrasing? I don't think anybody else at my work actually has ever seen Archer, so they have no idea what I'm talking about. But I don't explain. It's
a pity.
I just stick with it.
No, you just go with it.
Cool.
Yeah, I do love that damn show. The thought of me lying dead in the gutter gives you an erection? Semi.
So Sam, I see you also have like a ginormous list. Look at you. Like I like our guests to be prepared.
Right on.
Well,
so I mean, if we're on watching stuff, I saw something recently, and I'm sure, I don't know, I don't think either of you have seen it. I went and saw the Joker movie.
I have not.
With Eric Tharg. I really enjoyed it.
did you?
Yeah.
I've heard great things, and I didn't give a fuck about seeing that movie. But
So I was supposed to go see it yesterday with Meta, and she pushed out on me. But
if you're in it for comic books, it's not the movie for you.
No,
if you're
that's
in it
kind of
to,
what I
to
gathered.
see a Marvel movie or a glitzy Aquaman movie. That's not it. That's not what that movie is.
well, the Joker was clearly DC. So
I said Aquaman after that. DC. Shut the fuck up, man.
you tried to.
I saved it.
You
but
tried
I was
to weasel it
trying to
away.
cover it up.
I was referring to the four-color nature of Marvel, where it's very glitzy.
I haven't heard anything about it other than Peyton liked it, and he's kind of he's actually got pretty good taste in movies. He doesn't like a lot of movies actually. Almost he has he's a little too critical of movies sometimes, I think, but he liked it very much, and
I've heard great things.
Meta also liked it. And enough to even say that she really wanted to take me to it.
Craig loved it. He said it was he said it was like disturbing and like, what did he tell me? He told me that he like it made you laugh in parts where you felt like you shouldn't be laughing, and like parts that like where they're laughing on screen and stuff, and you're just sitting there like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Well, that made me want to.
There's a scene I don't want to spoil, but something happens, and this guy is trying to escape the presence of the Joker. I'm right on. Fuck you.
You were right on.
He's trying to escape the Joaquin's character, but he can't get out, and he's a little person, and he's trying to jump for the door, and he has to turn around and say, "Can you? The thing's latched. I can't get it. Can you let me out?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, buddy, no problem." It's fucked.
I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I think I might go tonight. I'm not 100% sure.
The only reason I bring it up, I was kind of hoping one of you had seen it, is because there is a lot of review outcry. The left versus right takes on how this movie is supposed to play out. Some of the media outcrying, saying there's going to be an incel shooter somewhere in one of these theaters because it's about incel masturbation, whatever. That's not what the movie's about. It really pisses me off.
I did hear a lot of people walked out of it, which I was like, oh fuck yeah. Well, I got to see that.
And
thing.
it's not that violent, which is another complaint they have. I mean, Scorsese movie's more violent in the first 5 minutes.
for sure.
Speaking of that fucking guy. So, Martin Scorsese had some shit to say about superhero movies, particularly like the MCU. Not a fan.
What's
apparently.
the MCU?
Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Okay.
And so he's not a fan of putting those movies out. He doesn't think that's not cinema. That's not theater. Sounds like fucking snobbery.
Yeah, it does sound like snobbery.
Half your movies are okay. Clearly he's got some fucking great movies to his title.
Favorite one is
What's the one about Tibet? What's the one he did about Tibet? Most boring fucking movie of all time.
7 Years in Tibet. Was that him? Oh,
that was
I was going to say
that's Brad Pitt.
Okay, I was going to say
I think Brad Pitt directed it, but
no,
I
don't.
No,
think
it's
Brad
called
Pitt
like
would have appeared in a Scorsese
I'm
movie.
gonna go with like Yuga or something like that. Yeah, like I saw it only because it was a Scorsese movie, and I was like, this is fucking horrible. Yeah.
Yeah, that was like just like this, basically the same thing as when I looked at Ridley Scott's the list of movies to his credit. I'm like, okay, half of these are fucking amazing, and then I'm like, half of them fucking blow. Favorite one, I don't know, Goodfellas maybe, I don't know, probably Goodfellas, but I mean, fuck, when I was looking at the list, there's a lot of good ones.
A lot of great ones. Gangs of New York, do you like that one?
I wasn't a big Gangs of New York fan.
I liked it. I didn't love it like I like Goodfellas, but
Right.
Like the Butcher was a great character and shit, and it was good. And paid some attention to history and shit. I think that's part of New York's history that people don't really fucking know about. The recruiting tables and stuff, like right there, like you're getting off the boat. Hey, welcome to the Union Army.
Yep.
Stuff like that. So that shit was cool. But I don't appreciate the snobbery. Like, okay, fuck. Like your shit's so high. Like I get you wrote The Departure or was not The Departure. Departed. But
That was a good one.
yeah, it sure was. Like a lot of his movies are good, but man, don't poo-poo the MCU. I mean, I'm tough on those movies too, but
Is he saying these aren't they don't belong in the theater or theater?
that's kind of the thing.
Is he pinky raising? I don't understand because you're supposed to be entertained, right? That's the whole point.
Yeah.
Well, I would think if it's Martin Scorsese and if he is pinky raising, it definitely has a big old mobster ring on that
Most
pinky.
likely.
Well, and if it was, if he was just saying that like Hugh Jackman sucked as Wolverine or something like that, I'd be totally on board because all the Marvel movies, all the X-Men movies are fucking terrible, and Hugh Jackman's a terrible Wolverine. So
I have you on recording
yeah.
saying that Logan was pretty good.
Logan is pretty good.
You know what? Logan is pretty good. God
You
damn
didn't like
it.
the one set in Japan? I actually kind of like that one.
Oh my god, that was the fucking worst one.
No,
The Silver
that was
Samurai
not
was the Silver Samurai was a fucking cool character. All right, that was not the Silver Samurai.
Oh, calm
And, like,
down, Mr.
The whole like
Cannon.
Logan in like fucking like learning to be a goddamn samurai, learning to control himself, and his love affair with Mariko and stuff, the love of his life, and like the fucking complicated relationship with her family and shit. Like that stuff was amazing in the comics.
Maybe I only like
And
Hugh Jackman
just-
as Wolverine because I really have only seen like the first X-Men movie, maybe the second one, but I probably fell asleep in it, and Logan, but I thought he was great. I thought
X-Men
Logan was fucking
Origins
great.
Wolverine.
Didn't watch that yet.
what they did to Wolverine in the movies, and it's not completely their fault because like eventually when they wrote in like his background story in the comics, like that kind of started it. That was like slipping him the roofie. What they did to that character in the movies was like the fucking gang rape that ensued. It's kind of it reminds me of like the last what the last Indiana Jones movie did to
Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
yeah. That's kind of how I feel about those movies in relation to Wolverine.
Like Highlander 3.
Any Highlander after the first Highlander.
Except for the TV series, you got to admit.
I actually really liked that show.
I did too. I watched all
watched
of them
the
back in
shit
the
out of
day.
that.
I mean, they weren't good, but I still watched them all.
No, they were
them.
not good, but they were like
it was just crazy.
The guy from the Fine Young Cannibals shows up as a bad guy, and actually a kind of a convincing bad guy.
Yeah,
I really like that.
We were talking about a show that out of our 8 listeners, like 0 of them have ever seen. But what was it that it would have been the 80s?
No, it's 90s for sure.
90s? Okay, yeah. 90s.
Yep. Adrian Paul, that beautiful man in his ponytail.
Yeah, so it was like a series based on the Highlander called The Highlander.
Yeah.
But I was
and the premise was shit too. This is I'm his cousin,
third cousin, twice removed.
And he owned like a like an antique shop, which I thought was pretty clever actually. Yeah. Like that. Why wouldn't you? And then
because that's what they did in the movie.
Oh yeah, I guess so. I'm probably like, fuck off. Okay, I forgot that part. But
let's just move this over here to the TV show.
And then he
this works for us.
But it was just funny because they had 1 hour episode, and it was like just any other formulaic, like shitty, like episode. And at the end, he had to cut somebody's head off. Yeah, every fucking
it's basically
episode.
It was Magnum PI.
Magnum PI
meets guy who chops people's heads off
with a chopping of the head off.
Yeah.
Though that did kind of inspire me to come up with a Highlander game.
Without Rick and
TC. No, I actually think the Highlander game had to have come before that, actually.
Highlander game?
Oh, you didn't see the last episode. Yeah, back when I was like 17.
I don't watch the show.
18. Yeah, why would
I don't blame you.
Ain't great. When I was 17, 18, we had this like game we called the Highlander. We used to get to, we would have we'd make these PVC swords with foam wrapped around them, wrap them in duct tape, and we would beat the fucking piss out of each other.
Oh, you were teenage boys.
Yes. But then that wasn't good enough. Then we like started a game called the Highlander where you could like attack anybody at any time as long as it wasn't out of bounds, which was like, you couldn't go into any like actual like public place and do it, and you couldn't go into their place of work and do it. But if you could get into their house, like that was fair game. If you could, you could beat the piss out of them in a parking lot, totally fine.
Reminds me of the movie Gotcha.
You didn't eat. Yeah, it was like Gotcha with fucking clubs, and you didn't have to. They didn't need a sword. Like you didn't have to wait for them to fucking get their sword, man.
If
you could be lucky enough to catch somebody without a sword, you were gonna fucking win that one. And the only way to like beat them was to beat them. Like they had to quit. They had to submit. Because it was Highlander. It wasn't like you got to score a point. No, you beat the fucking piss out of each other till somebody quit. And we did it for about 2 weeks, and then decided that if we continued to do it, somebody was definitely going to get arrested. So we quit. But I used to like carry a sword around in my car.
Was that the best kind of game when you were a kid? It ends in an arrest, or at least the threat of arrest.
There's a few arrests.
Holy shit.
Cool. What else you got in your list, guy?
Oh shit. Okay, so Walking Dead, check. I remembered something that I don't think I brought up on the show when I saw it, because last episode I talked about a romantic comedy that I saw that was amazing. That one with Seth Rogen, and now again I'm fucking drawing a blank. I can't remember the name. But Charlize Theron, and Seth Rogen, and it was fucking. Laughed a lot. It was fucking great. It was cute. It was awesome. But then I was talking to somebody, a friend of mine that I recommended this movie to, Always Be My Maybe. Do you know who Randall Park is, a stand-up comic, Korean guy? He's fucking...
I don't think so.
He's fucking hilarious. He's a really funny guy. So he shows up in this movie. It's like him and his best friend growing up, this girl. Korean girl, they're neighbors, and they grow up together, and they're each other's first and stuff like that. Anyway, his mom dies. He sticks around the house with his dad and shit, and kind of stays close to home. Starts rapping and shit like that. But he's works a menial job and stuff. She blows up. She's got a chain of restaurants and stuff. And she's rich and famous. And it's a fucking romantic comedy, a lot more comedy than romance, and it is like Keanu Reeves shows up in it, and he's fucking brilliant in there. He's so fucking funny. I was so glad I watched it. I was so happy to see him in there.
I'm very skeptical
Dude,
here.
it's like, dude, you fucking watch it as soon as you can. It's on. I think it's a Netflix original. So check it out.
You know,
on Netflix.
most Netflix originals are pretty good. Like they do a good job, especially on. I mean, their series is.
Yeah.
Is that how you say it?
And
Probably.
Is more than one series a series? That's okay.
that sounds like a Japanese weapon. But yeah, so Always Be My Maybe with Randall Park. And it is fucking funny. I mean, she's hilarious. And he's fucking brilliant. And then Keanu Reeves like just blew my mind in there. He's so good. And obviously has a great sense of humor about himself too. So yeah, that's a great movie.
I like Keanu Reeves. I think I brought this show up the other day about Much Ado About Nothing.
Yeah. Oh no, was it? It was Dangerous Liaison.
Well, he was in Dangerous Liaison
too,
too. Yeah. He played like the kid in Dangerous Liaison that John Malkovich fucks up.
He is a great actor.
Well, actually, he was super horrible in Dangerous Liaison. It was like a joke almost how bad he was. But he was actually pretty good in Much Ado About Nothing.
He was Keanu Reeves in Much Ado About Nothing.
Well, see that's the okay. So that's what I always said about Keanu Reeves. Like
Nick Cage.
When he was right, yeah, like Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. He was fucking great in that because he was Keanu Reeves. You know, and whenever he is Keanu Reeves, I think he's fucking great.
Yeah.
Though I have heard John Wick 3 is pretty fucking good, but I haven't seen it yet.
I've heard it's not as nearly as good as the first two, but I haven't seen any of them, so what the
I
fuck
haven't.
would I know?
I think I saw the first one and I thought it was okay.
I didn't really know anything about those movies, and when I like stumbled across the first one and I watched it, and the first thing that fucking like, the first thing that caught my eye in those movies is, do you think that's a double, or did they fucking train this? Did they train him in fucking jiu-jitsu? Yeah.
Oh no! Keanu Reeves is like
I've since found out that he
is a bad motherfucker.
No, yeah, super. And it all started actually with The Matrix. When he did The Matrix, I mean, like that was Keanu Reeves who like did all the like.
I was not aware of that.
Who did all the like kung fu and everything like that, and he ended up like since then becoming, he's never stopped training and is like. A pretty accomplished martial artist.
And also he trains, I can't remember the acronym. It's like IPSCA or something like that. It's
like gun training.
Gun competitions.
Yep.
Gun competitions. And he's very good.
Yeah. Yeah. So he's the real deal. Joe Rogan talked a little bit about it on his show, but like that, how like it's just very, very apparent in when somebody who actually has like combat, training can, you can just, I mean, it's like if you used to box, right? And you watch a boxing movie and you're like, or somebody who played baseball, you watch a baseball movie and you're like, don't think so. But there hasn't been very many jiu-jitsu movies for me to like,
Sure.
Poop on.
Why? Because you don't want to watch a movie where two dudes lay on each other for a while and hug and sweat on each other?
No, that's all I want to watch. Okay. But there's just enough of them.
I love jiu-jitsu. Don't tackle me.
Actually, there were a few good jiu-jitsu movies. Have you ever seen the movie Never Back Down? It was like
oh my God. I think I have. Yeah, that was a really bad movie.
The jiu-jitsu, MMA, martial arts aspect of it, spot fucking on though. Like truly.
Well, except for
the training and everything. The acting was not great. The storyline was horseshit. All of that. But the fucking jiu-jitsu in it was super good. And really, at the end of the day, in a jiu-jitsu movie, it's all I care about.
Right. But I mean, the jiu-jitsu was the first thing that really caught my eye about those John Wick movies and shit. I was like, God, like, look at you.
Okay, now that you said that, I have to watch it because I haven't, I have not
seen the third one. In the second one, okay, like I thought the body count, like
if I watch another movie where somebody chokes somebody out, where they get the arm around the neck and then they go to the front of the forehead, that's it. I'm going.
But that's how Roddy Piper does it.
Exactly. Like, did you get the rear naked choke fucking confused with the sleeper hold? Did that just happen? Did that just happen?
I'll just go right to the camel clutch. Fuck that.
Right. Though actually,
and I've got my go-to choke.
Do you remember the Boston crab? Do you remember the Boston crab?
Which I should. The rape choke is what Joe Rogan calls
he calls it the rape choke.
Yeah.
Yeah, fairly famously.
I just realized that I referenced rape choke, but I don't want people to be like,
Kyle?
yeah, right? Like, that's not funny. It's what Joe Rogan calls a particular choke. It's,
like where you grab somebody by the throat and you try to choke them out. Like, it's called the rape choke.
Yeah.
It's actually not called the rape choke, but there is no name for it because it's typically very, very stupid. But
unless you like getting armbarred.
Unless you can do it.
What's that? Unless you like to get armbarred. Right. So typically, if you grab somebody by the throat and you try to choke them, especially if you're on top and they have their guard, you're getting set up for an armbar. Though, if you're very, very strong and the other person is not as strong, you can fucking choke somebody out with one hand. Kyle's proved that. But it's not super easy. Well, it's actually not easy.
That was the creepiest wink.
I
rape choked somebody out.
That was our time to take a break thing. Okay, wait, rape choke. Before that, what was I saying? God damn it! I was just saying in the last episode that Meta says that living with or being around me is like being with Dory from
Finding Nemo.
Finding Nemo.
Yes.
Thank you, memory.
Finding Dory.
Or Finding Dory. Because I don't remember anything.
You don't remember shit
at all. But it makes it nice because I can rewatch shows and just be as completely like stunned for the second.
Oh, this was good.
Time. Right.
I really enjoyed this. Hey, have you ever come across where you watch something and then you're like, oh, this movie sucks. I fucking hate it. And then years later you watch it again and you're like, I think I already watched this, but I'm going to watch it again. And you're like, oh, fuck, that's great.
All the time.
Yeah.
Is that just
maybe not all the time,
or just your wet brain is now reprocessing it?
I think a lot of shit I don't really appreciate, like because of like where if it works. Unfortunately, it works in reverse, like way harder. Ever rewatch if I watch Cheech and Chong now, if I watch Monty Python, like a lot of Monty Python stuff now, there's a lot of shit, like I'll try to watch stuff that I enjoyed before and I'm like, fuck me.
Yeah.
This is fucking terrible.
Yep.
So of course it's got to work in reverse. I mean, like, I've given movies like a second chance, and just being like a little older and wiser and liking different things in movies and stuff. I'm like, damn, like I don't remember this being fucking amazing, but this is awesome movie,
I definitely haven't gone in reverse where I've had a movie that I've been like, this movie is fucking awesome, and then you go rewatch it, and you're like, oh shit, it totally wasn't awesome. It was very, very dated, but
it's really tough with comedies and stuff, though. I mean, because I already laughed at this 10 times.
I haven't really rewatched very many movies that I didn't like. We were talking last week about the movie Rob Roy. And I hated
rewatching.
And I hated Rob Roy when it came out. But the reason that I hated it,
proximity effect,
it was because of the rape scene. Early on in the movie, there was this graphic rape scene, and it bothered me so bad that it like wrecked the rest of the movie. I don't even honestly know if I finished it.
Was it that graphic?
I don't know.
Or was it just a rape scene?
Because how old was I when Rob Roy came out? 19. It's a fairly old movie. I was just super sensitive to it, and just like I just couldn't get over it. I think if I rewatch that movie now, I feel like I could be okay with that.
Rob Roy came up because we were talking about the best. We were talking about The Duelist, which Sam has also seen.
Fucking great.
Watch The Duelist. Check it out.
If you like scalps being partially cut off, you'll love it.
But
wow, that sounds super familiar. But I suppose I've watched scalps get cut off before.
If you like Harvey Keitel without seeing his penis, you'll love it.
Hey.
Was that a piano reference?
Oh wait,
or was it a Bad Lieutenant? Or do you see his penis?
Fuck, I think you see his penis in a bunch of movies. I know definitely in the Pianist. Is it the Piano? The Piano. That's what it's called, right?
The penis.
The penis. Yeah, but he walks around with his dick swinging around all the time, over the place. So I know it doesn't count as watching it, but I did put The Duelists in my queue to watch.
Baby steps.
Well as Dun 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 Rudy. So
we were talking about The Duelist because we were talking about the director.
Robert C. Jordan. Scott. Ridley Scott.
Ridley Scott, yeah. And I mentioned Rob Roy.
If I say Robert, the middle name is.
The dueling scenes, which, like Archie, awesome duelist, like awesome duelist. Archie's the bad guy. And then, but I loved the duel at the end.
What's that ruined? Because I have it in my queue.
At the end of Rob Roy.
Yeah, but we can't say anything more. You've got Rob Roy in your queue?
Oh no, but
You need to put that in your
well, you need
queue.
to rewatch that.
I have
too.
zero memory of except for a rape scene.
See, like the reason I think that's a beautiful
And Eric Stoltz riding a horse and shooting behind him with a pistol, with a musket pistol. It was like, well, I thought that was fucking cool, but I still couldn't do it.
But like him talking about like explaining honor to his sons, shit like that, and his like the way he loves his wife, that relationship and everything. It's a beautiful movie, and I definitely recommend. Maybe bump that ahead of Rudy. No, don't do that.
Definitely bump it ahead of Rudy. But I think you need to watch Rudy anyway.
Yeah,
Rudy's not that good.
The thing is, well,
don't listen to Sam.
So
Overrated.
The thing is I think I could watch The Duelist by myself. I don't think I'm going to cry myself to death.
Oh, you'll cry like a fucking child for Rudy.
That's the problem.
I know you'll be a blubbering mess.
Yeah, so I can't watch Rudy alone.
So Meta has to be in charge of you watching. I message her about weekly.
She gives me so much shit about it too. She's like, "You have to watch Rudy. Kyle won't leave it go." And I'm like, "You have to watch Rudy next to me." Kyle won't let it go. She's like, I'm busy, and she is ridiculously busy. We hardly have 2 minutes to rub next to each other. That didn't come out right.
2 minutes, good.
It's more than enough for me. But if you, but the Duelists and Rob Roy, I feel like you could watch those both by yourself.
I think I could watch Rob Roy.
So, are you not a Ridley Scott fan then?
No, I absolutely am. It's just that when I looked at his list of movies, I was like, okay, 50-50.
You were saying that you could hardly go wrong with Ridley Scott when we were talking about.
But 50-50, you think it's that bad? I think that's actually pretty bad.
I don't think so. I think for just like Scorsese, I think that if half your movies are fucking just amazing, you're killing it.
So what is the Ridley Scott movie that's the Ridleyest of Ridley Scott movies? What's the number one?
I think a lot of people think of
Aliens, right? Wasn't that Ridley Scott?
Well, I think
was. Yeah.
I think a lot of people think of Gladiator. And I think that a lot of people would say that's their favorite Ridley Scott movie, although it is not mine.
No, it's not mine either, and it's good.
It's okay. I have one of my secret pleasure movies, or not movies, but series, is the whole Spartacus series that was on Stars. I will defend this to the death. I will defend this on the grounds of dying honor, or whatever the fuck they say.
Do you put on a loincloth and oil yourself up when you watch that?
And which do you have out, a sword or your dick or tits or what? Because whenever you tune to it, it was always either tits or an ass or a dick.
Don't get me wrong. I've seen the series too. I'm just asking because I know what I wear.
I have a problem. I do have a problem with sex. Like I don't have any problem with violence in cinema or whatever, but I am kind of uncomfortable with it always so much sex. It's like, if I want to watch a porno, I'll watch a porno. If I want to watch people kill each other, let's bring that on and skip the fucking all the other bullshit. However, I loved the series Spartacus. It was a Stars original, and then the main character who played Spartacus got really sick, and I don't know, and I'm ashamed to not know. I think he even died, but maybe not. He did? Okay, well, we're very sorry. He was great. I mean, I thought he was great.
I'd seen him in other stuff. He was good.
Specimen, it was great.
He was a specimen.
And they wanted to do a season 2, but of course this guy can't do it. And they recast it And I fucking thought that the next guy was great too. There was a little bit of a transition period where I was not really completely comfortable. He wasn't quite as physically fit, but man, worked into the role. I thought it was great. But the thing that is really crazy about the series is it's one of the most historically accurate portrayals of the slave rebellion in Rome. And they do a really fantastic job of actually getting their shit right.
I just couldn't take it seriously because every fucking time I would tune to it, tits or ass or something.
I mean, it was like 300 style violence, like over the top violence with blood splatter everywhere. Yeah. But if you take that aside, and the sex was probably actually
was like
also
300
realistic.
Meets Big Wet Asses 3. Not Big Wet Asses 2. That was bullshit.
Yeah.
3.
They lost track of what they really wanted to be.
Yeah. Way to take your eye on the prize, but you totally redeemed yourself in 3.
So I watched, I just devoured those and just thought they were fucking great. And then I couldn't get enough Gladiator, so I thought I'd go back and watch Gladiator.
It's not that bad. You
it was slow and like I just didn't like it that much. Rewatching it. So that's another one where it's when I loved Gladiator when it came out. I hadn't seen it for years and years. Go back and watch it, and I'm like, this ain't no Spartacus.
Now, this is not what fucked up that movie for me, but it was kind of no, it did piss me off. So I went to that in the theater here in town. And I don't remember who was with me, whoever I was seeing at the time, whatever. We're sitting in this movie, and I'm really liking it so far. And we get to the part where he's like right after he escapes execution the first time. So he escapes in Gaul and makes his way home. Now he's walking up the driveway, and if like everybody's seen Gladiator, you know where this is going. So he's walking up the driveway to his villa, and just as he gets home, right before he finds his family, the audio cuts out for a second, and "Help Me, Rhonda" comes on. So all while he's finding his family's remains, it's "Help me, Rhonda, yeah, get her out of my heart." Like
it's fucking troll level 1000.
"Help me, Rhonda, help me, Rhonda," and I'm like, like his family's been fucking like raped and butchered and fucking. This is supposed to be this.
See, that's an example of really good use of like modern music and so what was up? Somebody cut it into the fucking
motherfucker. I to this day I don't know.
Fucking epic.
But it fucking. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? And for
there was, I've seen there was some guy getting shit canned in the fucking in man. It was
like I did not like it ruined it for me that time. I watched it again, whatever. It's not a great movie,
and you can't get through that that pillage scene without singing "Help Me, Rhonda."
Well, not that, but like I did sit through the whole rest of the movie going, "What the fuck just happened?" Like that
ruined the rest of the movie.
I'm like, damn, how did that fucking like? Help me, Rhonda,
like,
for real?
It's like watching a porn and having a picture of your grandmother spliced in there right before you're going to come, right?
Yeah, except without all the hard coming.
This is not exactly the same experience, but
thank you for that setup.
You're welcome. Yes.
This is not exactly the same experience, but as our viewers know, Conan the Barbarian was a very formative movie for me growing up. I saw it, I think, when I was 8 with, I begged my dad to take me.
I saw it on a video disc.
Very rewatchable too.
Oh God, I've seen it so many times. Yeah. But like, I went and seen it in the theater with my dad, rated R, violent movie. Had to promise him
lots of titties.
that I wouldn't have nightmares. Of course I did.
It was like the late 70s, so it wasn't great titties necessarily, but they were in there.
Yeah, this is almost becoming a trope that we like. I say this over and over again. Okay, but Conan the Barbarian and Toto's song Rosanna came out roughly the same time, and I'm telling you, I cannot listen to Rosanna without like without just I feel like I'm watching Conan the Barbarian when I hear that song. And I know they don't have anything to do with each other. But like, I feel like Rosanna was somehow in Conan the Barbarian.
Now everybody listening to this has got that song in their head.
Right. Such a good song.
All I wanna do.
Yeah, right. It's like, what about that song has anything to do with, the riddle of steel? But
it's in the middle of the song if you listen closely enough.
right.
Crush your enemies, see them driven before you, hear the lamentation of the women. Rosanna.
Even that horrible rendition, I could just I could feel the thundering hooves of the fucking horses
Dun,
climbing.
dun.
The wheel of pain.
Oh, fuck. So, yeah, what the fuck were we talking? How did we
Ridley
get to Conan? Oh, yeah, Ridley Scott. Fuck.
I actually like Tony Scott, some of his stuff better.
I don't know who that is.
He directed a True Romance.
Oh.
Oh yeah,
It's his brother.
True Romance is one of my
He's
favorite
also-
movies of all time.
He passed away, I don't know, 10 years ago or 8 years, something like that.
Yeah, he. Oh shit! I gotta make a correction. I just shot into my head. I don't know why. But when on last week's episode we were talking to Jenna Brower von Siebold. Holy shit, that's a long name to actually.
The
try to
Baroness
spell,
von Siebold.
And when we were talking about how, after she got done with The Shine, she started at Prairie Bay. And then we talked about Prairie Bay, and we said that Matt Annan started Prairie Bay. But actually, that's not true. There was actually a chef a couple of years before that actually started Prairie Bay, who, if I would have been making this correction correctly, I would have wrote his name down. But I don't remember what it was. So, but just so we're, we here at Spitballing, we're 100% correct all the time, even when we're not. So, but
most of the time.
We're
most of the
100%
time,
correct all the time. 40% of the time.
But that said, just so we didn't want to put that out there that Matt Annan would actually started Prairie Bay, though he's still a fantastic chef.
And see, I was just trying to figure out if it was skateboarding or if it was bikes that he was into when we were kids. Yeah. Anyway,
Well, I'd like to have him on. I'd like to try to get a hold of him, but I don't know what he's up to these days. Figure it out.
He's in prison.
He was not
he's
in
not in
prison.
prison.
I just checked in custody.
That's just my go-to thing.
What do you got? What else you got on your list, Sam?
Man.
Well, man, I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to Sam.
Yeah, I'm
directing
used to
this
getting that
fucking
question for me.
Well, I was fully expecting to have to talk about fucking fasting, but I think we already did that once.
We need to talk about
we'll
it
get
again.
back to that.
So,
Yeah,
we can talk about it. So, if those of you who don't know, I am on my 9th day of fasting.
Hunger strike.
Yes, because
Against the water tower.
Yeah, I am not going to eat again until the city of Brainerd agrees to allow Kyle and I to knock down the water tower with trebuchets.
Fired at a safe distance from a safe location in the park.
So we're probably going to have to Meta's probably going to have to get the splash pad done first because we'd like that nice concrete foundation base to actually put the trebuchets on.
That is quite the distance for a trebuchet.
Oh, fuck that. Easy shot.
Easy peasy.
Easy
Haven't you
peasy.
ever seen my favorite Ridley Scott movie? I know what it is.
It's a terrible movie and has the worst actor in history in it.
If you've ever seen Kingdom of Heaven, check out the director's cut.
So you didn't like it?
No, I didn't.
I don't
like
think
it.
I liked it either.
No.
I think we saw it together.
And I really hate Orlando Bloom.
I think
I think I got traumatized.
I think you
from
guys did
Lord of
see
the
it
Rings.
together, but you couldn't wait to get home for the sex.
Oh, we made out.
And that is
Okay.
why you could not focus on how good that fucking movie is, because it's amazing, especially the siege scenes with the trebuchets.
Let me ask you this question. If I'm trying to remember if this is the fucking movie, was there a scene where they were taking horses across, like on ship, and that was like a big deal, and they were trying to get the horses out? And no, nothing.
I don't think. You thinking about Troy?
No.
because that was terrible too.
No, this is the one. Liam Neeson shows up. Liam Neeson is his father, and he's like a baron.
I'm just gonna have to rewatch it because
I'll have to rewatch it.
It sounds-
I don't remember it being good.
like it sounds
so
super familiar. But the thing
I didn't like it the first time I watched it.
Well, if I don't like something the first time I watch it, I hardly ever go back to it. So, but I'll try it again because
So right after Rudy and
Yeah.
the Duelists,
Rudy,
Rob
the Duelists,
Roy.
Rob
this is like a
Roy.
decade-long
Yeah,
commitment.
you're
When I
screwed.
say do it again, I'll do it within the next decade.
Or for me, 2 days.
Rewatch The Wire, all these things.
Yeah, like I literally, and everybody says they don't watch television, but I literally like hardly at all watch television. The only time I ever do is when I'm with Meta, and we're like at the end of the day, we'll sit down and we'll watch something before bed.
I
And
watch as much television as humanly possible.
Yeah.
I try to. I move other shit around to watch movies
and I won't,
TV.
and I hardly ever watch television by myself.
I have no social life.
I don't have a social life, but I'd just rather work. I'd rather do something productive.
I
Have a
don't believe
table.
So
I'm
what
not
you're
into
saying is when you're not responding to my Facebook messages, you're watching TV.
Yes, and also like if I'm at the gym, if I'm not watching if I don't have our podcast because it's the only podcast I watch. If I don't have that on, I'm watching movies and TV series and stuff.
Oh, because you're like standing on a treadmill or something?
Yeah.
Interesting. So I don't have that experience. I mean, when I work out, I'm trying not to get my face choked off. So it's hard to.
You're letting another sweaty man roll.
You
on
can't really watch.
Yeah, the only way that you're going to be able to simulate that experience is probably by watching Spartacus.
So I haven't eaten in 9 days, and that was where we were at.
I feel like we're doing better than we were.
I don't know. We can never recapture the magic. But
Those
you know
lost
what?
moments.
We just got
mescaline's kicking in.
we got so much magic that So it's been 9 days since I've eaten anything, and I originally got interested in doing a long-term fast because our friend Thargnar Panzerschwanz, episode 2, skip it.
Lost 300 pounds.
Yes.
Then he found it again.
No, it was 70 or 80 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did 2 fasts. I think one was 30 days, one was 45 days, and just stripped off a ton of weight. Now, again, I'm not interested in losing weight. I'm comfortable with my weight level.
And he
But
100% did not give a shit about anything else but losing weight.
His whole goal
70
was
or 80
losing weight.
pounds. His dick looks so much bigger now.
That autophagy really cleaned it up too.
Did it change the taste profile,
Well,
Kyle?
all the warts are gone. That weird lesion. The basic
I don't
is,
know. I just use mayo.
So, Tharg, who, if any of you guys know Tharg, he obviously is a super cool guy, but he doesn't put a lot of forethought into anything. So when he was getting interested in doing a fast, or actually he wasn't even getting interested
wasn't
in
even a priming.
You were talking to him about fasting and autophagy, right?
I literally mentioned it to him on Discord one day.
And
which
he
is a
fucking
program you can talk back and forth
and
on.
he ran
Okay.
with it.
And he just oh, that sounds like a great idea. I talked to him a week later. Yeah, 7 days in. It's pretty easy.
Huh. Yeah. So, but you had done a lot of research about
I still do every day.
the idea of
Yep.
about fasting and different, diet, stuff and what the best approach is. And then you yourself did an 18-day fast.
18, yeah. And
Yeah.
I've done a dozen, or not a dozen, maybe half a dozen 7s and 5s.
Oh,
and
you have.
3s.
You've done
Oh, yeah.
7s too, huh?
Yeah. When I was going back and forth into Denver, I would eat Sunday night, and I wouldn't eat again until Friday afternoon on my way back. On my way back to Denver.
So you can hear the difference.
Yeah.
Is that a song? On my
If
way
you
back
sing
to
3 times in this fucking podcast,
Oh, he's got 2 down, right?
I
Just
know.
one.
I'm feeling very musical today.
You look musical.
So, God, I didn't know that you did 7-day fasts as well. That's
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of the 7 days is I mean, lots of people do short-term fasts, 24 hours, 48 hours, and those are pretty easy. Like we said in the last hour that you guys didn't hear, it's pretty difficult to fuck up an intermittent fast, a short fast. I mean, you can go 24 hours without eating or even drinking, and you really can't do any damage to yourself. You're pretty safe. But that said, I think if you are even going to do a short-term fast, you should definitely drink a lot of water.
Yep.
Because it's actually going to give you more health benefits, but you're not going to die if you don't. But when you start doing a long-term fast, you do have to kind of be a little more careful about that. You can pretty easily, but you can get dehydrated and you can start actually doing some damage to yourself if you don't do things correct. And so after talking with you about it, or talking about autophagy or whatever, then I went out and did some actually more research about it. And what I really got interested in was the idea of as you get going on to a longer fast, your body like starts eating the extra shit in your body.
That's what autophagy is.
Autophagy.
Self-eating.
Yes. And it like eats the stuff the extra stuff first before it starts attacking shit like muscle and organs. And
I mean, that's what they think. That's what the research is. I mean, there's a Nobel Prize that was awarded for this just a few years ago. And that's what they think. But I mean, we don't know 100% exactly what's going on.
We're making no health claims, even though Sam is actually a bona fide
100%
doctor. Yes. This is a podcast, so nobody can see you shaking your head no, unless they're watching it. No, Sam is not an actual doctor. He just is a smart dude who does a lot of research.
He went to Berkeley, and that's one of those indoctrination camps that the cousin fuckers are so afraid of.
Yeah, I had pizza there once. It was nice. Cousin fuckers.
Yeah. I struggle with the whole like college is nothing but indoctrination centers. You just need to fucking get yourself, oh fuck, every time I read that shit, I'm like,
indoctrination into critical thinking. I know, it's terrible.
Like, and that ignorant fucking shit is why we wind up in the fucking situation that we're in. But yeah.
Anyway,
about that.
Fasting, it's good.
Yeah. So I was interested in the idea of autophagy because as you do a more long-term fast, it starts eating the plaques in your body. And specifically the studies that I was interested in were the ones that where it eats the plaques in your arteries. My mom died when she was 58 of a massive fucking heart attack, so I'd rather not have that.
Yeah, it was a terrible day.
Yeah, it sucked. It was super sucked. And so the funeral was funny.
I was going to say, sucked for you guys, worse for her.
Oh, no.
Yeah, she's probably
better than for her. I can't imagine. We'll talk about this later. Oh, fuck it. If I do okay, no, let me just make the other point. And the other point is that it also can eat the plaques that build on your brain, potentially, no health claims here, that cause Alzheimer's and dementia. And as most of you know, my father is suffering from Alzheimer's. So, that was kind of my inspiration to do it. Now let's go back to my mom dying. So my mom was this big, larger than life character or whatever. And she died, oh God, I don't even know how long ago it was now. 12 years? No, let me think. Yeah, right around 12, 13 years ago. And she died at my cafe. She would go in at 5 o'clock in the morning and clean the whole thing and then, open up or whatever. She didn't open up. Somebody went in, found her dead. Thankfully, she did clean the entire place first, though, so that was very nice of her.
Cheers, Mom. Cheers, Mom.
But then, yeah, it was crazy sad. But then at her funeral, that was I did her eulogy. Got from her, but did her eulogy, and told some crazy old stories about her, and told a story about when she shot me out of the tree with a BB gun when I was 6 years old. Because I
thought that was a joke. I didn't realize that was a real story.
No, true story. Yeah. And then afterward, did I just say this on the last podcast? Were we talking about this on the last podcast? No. No, I was at the bar. So I always forget what I talk about or not. But anyway, so afterward, I remember my wife, Jess Goebel at the time, her mom came up to me, and her mom never really liked me, or her stepmom actually. Her mom was wonderful, but her stepmom was a bitch. She came up to me and said, hope she watches this. She doesn't fucking watch this. So she came up to me and she's like, I didn't know you were funny. I was like, Jesus Christ.
What was your retort?
I was just like, thank you. You know, I was just weird, you know, but like she'd never said anything nice to me in my life. And I was like, it was just a weird thing to say to somebody at a funeral.
Yeah, actually that kind of fucking is.
Yeah. But it did make me realize, or it was kind of the first thing that made me think like, maybe I am funny. Maybe I should try doing stand-up comedy. No, years later I did. But then later,
and he's been playing every funeral since.
Yes.
Very good.
If you want your eulogy done, I am the man for that.
Sir, we don't know you. Please get away from the podium.
Stop touching the casket.
Afterward, though, Ma was cremated and they put her in like plastic like box or whatever, and we're cleaning everything up. And I was just there with my brother-in-law, and I tossed him. I tossed Ma to him, and he like freaked out and jumped for it and to catch it or whatever. And I looked over, and the two people, the morticians, I guess, they were just
aghast,
just busting a gut. And they were like apologizing. They're like, we're so sorry. I was like, no, it's cool. And they're like, yeah, humor runs a little dark around here. And I just gotta say, you guys are pretty fucking funny.
So that reminds me of the two items that I just added to my living will. Number one, that I want my remains to be spread around Disneyland. Number two, I do not want to be cremated. Wish I could take credit for those, but I stole those.
I thought it would be funny. I thought it would be funny to like, to make, this is horrible, but to make a video of yourself, like, you know, I got pancreatic cancer. I got 2 weeks to live. Okay, cool. Make a video of yourself, and then you do your own eulogy, right? And there are people who do that. It's all right, right? But then, okay, well, so then you got everybody, you know, there, and then boom, big screen, you know, and you're like, oh, hey, thank you everybody for coming, you know, whatever, blah, 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 blah. Okay, well, you know, we wanted to, so you'd have the dinner first, right? And then you come in for the funeral. You can see this, where this is going, right? Yeah. And have yourself prepared for I just wanted you to know that I'm going to live on with all of you because you just ate me. You know that pulled pork you had? That was long pork, bitch. That was me. Just like, you know, I just think that'd be fun. Great. I actually wrote a short story that I wanted to do a little short film with that was essentially the premise of it, but I didn't do it because I couldn't find anybody willing to get roasted alive.
Fucking killjoys.
Yeah.
Everybody's a pussy. What else we got? Did we talk enough about the fasting thing?
I don't know. Did you want to go over why you were under consuming salt?
Oh yeah, we should definitely talk about the salt thing.
And then over consuming in a small window.
Yeah, because we did miss that. So when I decided to start this fast, you know, like I said, I had done some research about it. Sam and I had talked about it quite extensively. I pretty much thought I was prepared to do it.
I thought you were too, because I think you and I went over this for a good
Did I tell you about the Dory thing? I don't have that great of a memory. Yeah. So like, yes, we talked about needing sodium and potassium and magnesium and I was like all prepared. I went out and I went to Walmart and I got some sodium supplements and stuff. And so I'm starting to go and I'm day 3, day 4. I wasn't feeling that good. I was having a hard time, you know, I didn't have any energy. It was kind of feeling sunken in or whatever. And then on Saturday, I was at the bar, which was day 6. So I made it 6 days, which is a long fucking time to do it without having enough. Anyway, so talking to Sam, how you feeling? I was like, I'm okay, low energy. I was having some cramps though, some cramps in my legs and stuff. And Sam's like, well, how much sodium and potassium are you getting? And I was like, well, I've been taking these supplements. And I gave them to him. And he's like, how many of these you take? And I was like, oh, well, 5 a day, which isn't even really true.
You're probably taking 2.
Well, my goal was to take 5, but I'd forget after a little bit. And he's like, dude, you need like 25 of these a day.
I think I was actually low. I needed more than that.
Yeah, because they just didn't have. So when you're fasting, you need about 5,000 milligrams of sodium a day, which is a little over 2 teaspoons is what it figures out to be. And you need like 3,500 milligrams of potassium a day.
Now, sodium is much easier to supplement than potassium.
Well, not actually.
Yeah, not actually.
Come to find out.
But potassium, like the potassium you buy,
you can't do it that way. That's what you're thinking. Yep. It's almost impossible to supplement in a pill. Almost impossible.
Yeah.
Because if you go, so anyway.
That's why I do, like, that's why I go via food. Like, that's why, that's how what got me to
But yeah,
beets
you
and
get,
stuff
yeah,
like that.
you get potassium. Potassium's easy to get if you're eating.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, potassium, you can just, like, coconut water is full of fucking potassium.
Spinach.
Spinach is full of potassium. Yeah. Beets are great.
Yeah, that's
but when you're not eating.
And with beets, like the fucking, like the stalks and shit, like, are, you know, more.
But when you're not eating, it's difficult to get potassium. And if you go to the so anyway, so Sam left. I realized I'm way low on the sodium, potassium, and we talked about a bunch of other things. So Aaron came in. I was working from 1 p.m. to 1 a.m. that day, so I had a long day. And I was feeling pretty run down. I ran out to Walmart to get sodium and potassium and some other stuff. And I go out there, and I went and I'm like looking at these potassium supplements, and they're 90 milligrams per pill. And I'm like, I need 3,500 milligrams. How many bottles of this do I need? Like a bottle a day? This is going to be fucking crazy.
What does it say? Like a serving on there, like 1%. I'm like,
yeah. Oh, thanks.
Wow. This is going to be a slow road.
And it's for supplementing your already high
You're already
consumption.
fucking eating.
Yeah.
Right. But I'm not eating, so I'm getting that. So anyway, filled my cart with fucking potassium bottles, then went over to get salt. And you had mentioned, don't have the greatest memory, I didn't write it down, that there was a non-salt supplement that had a shit pile of potassium in it, and that's what I needed to use. But I'd kind of dismissed that because I was like, well, I'll just take the pills, because I said in the last time, but I'll say it again. Sam, I treat Sam much like my actual doctor that I listen to about half of what he says.
He lets him put his fingers inside him.
No, I let him do that whenever he wants. I listen to about half of what he says, and I dismiss about half of that. So, like, you know, I didn't think about it. So I went over there, and there's a product called No Salt, which is basically a salt substitute, and it's got like 650 milligrams of potassium per quarter teaspoon. So it's just chock-a-luck full of potassium. Easy to get 3,500 milligrams of potassium that way. And then I got some bouillon cubes that had a shit pile. They had like 1,250 milligrams of, or actually it was 2,500 because they were double as half. So 2,500 milligrams of potassium or of sodium per thing. And I come back and I make myself up a cup of like this salt soup with the no salt and the awesome, you know, bouillon cube and everything. And Sam he may have mentioned that I probably shouldn't drink, or I shouldn't take.
It's not a may. I 100% mentioned this.
I don't remember exactly.
No,
like in passing, he said, "Oh yeah, don't do too fast" or something as he was walking out the door. And it wasn't, but
I'm just gonna leave this note here on the table. Read that later.
So apparently, it's very important to get.
I'm going to travel back in time and warn him.
5,000 milligrams of sodium, about 3,500 milligrams of potassium a day. But it's also pretty important not to do that in a short period of time. But I hadn't eaten anything at all in 6 days, and I made up this cup of salt soup, and it was fucking delicious, man. I was I just hadn't had anything. It was warm, and I sucked it down in about 15 minutes, and then, you know, working a little bit more. But as soon as I did it, as soon as I took that in, man, I could just feel my body like fill back up, you know, with water, you know, because I hadn't, you know, I was dehydrated, which being dehydrated and not eating is not a great combo. You shouldn't be doing that. So I felt great for like 15 minutes. And then I was like, and I was like, Aaron's like, "You all right?" I was like, "God damn it, I don't know." Like, it was like the the movie, the fucking Dreamcatcher.
The squirrel. What was the
shit weasel?
Shit weasel.
Yeah, if you ever seen the movie, Dreamcatcher, like the fucking alien goes up the guy's asshole and it's like running around in his belly. Well, that's kind of how it felt for me. I was like, oh, this is holy shit.
Doesn't it then come out explosively?
Well, it did come out explosively. So Aaron was like, yeah, all right. And I was like, I gotta go. And I fucking run out of the bar with my ass cheeks clenched together, try to get home to the shitter. And I made it.
You're doing that pinch ass.
I was definitely pinch ass. I was pinch ass run walk. And yeah, so I puked out of my butt for about 20 minutes. And I was like, wow, that was okay. And then come to find out that was actually like me dying. So that's not good. You should not have explosive diarrhea if you're fasting. Because
generally a bad idea.
Because that's like well, what do they call it when the sailormen drink salt water and then they have explosive diarrhea and die? Is that just called dehydration or
just dehydration?
Yeah. But it's like the death throes of dehydration.
Yeah, I mean,
you drink salt water and fucking your body's not going to have it
because you have too much salt. Too much salt will kill you. So therefore, your body tries to get rid of the salt, but the only way to get rid of the salt is to bind it with the water and shoot it out you.
Oh, so
it shoots
not
all the water
only
out.
Not only is it shooting the water, or not only is it getting rid of the potassium and salt, but it's also making me
Water
more
has to go with
dehydrated.
it. Yep.
Interesting.
That's how you die very, very quickly.
Well, I made it through. And I drank a bunch of water afterwards, so I was able to partially rehydrate. But, yeah. And now, since then, I've kind of been able to equalize it out where I'm getting enough salt and potassium, but I'm doing it all the way through the day, and it's much better.
And the reason you have to do that, I don't know if we mentioned it this time, but we did last time, is that when you go on keto or you go on fasting, your body says, well, I don't need all this salt because I was holding it because I was eating all this other stuff that the salt needed to be there. Yeah, okay, Nazi. And then so it just dumps all the water out with the salt that it's trying to get rid of, and then you dehydrate, so you have to reconsume salt on keto diet or on fasting or whatever. And drink a lot of water.
Yeah.
And consult your physician, you stupid fucks out there doing this.
Yeah, whatever. I consulted my doctor, Sam. So
yeah, well,
but it's been good. 9 days in, still feeling pretty good. I don't feel 100%. Like I have a little bit of low energy, whatever. Oh, one other thing I did want to mention though is that the other advice that you did give me that I actually did hold on to was to take the supplement, the ZMA, which is zinc, magnesium, and B6. I know that because Sam just told me in the last episode. I had no idea what it was before. It was just ZMA. But it to take it right before I go to bed, and it makes a huge difference. Because
he told you to drink Zima.
Yeah.
You fucked that up. He told you just to drink
Not
Zima.
White Claw, Zima.
Dude, I can't drink Zima. I'm fasting. I can't have the Jolly Rancher. What the fuck?
God.
But this Zima stuff is fucking amazing. It really like helps you, or it helps me anyway. Just knocks me out.
Yep. Great for sleep.
And and I don't even know why it would be great for sleep, but it just
magnesium.
It was like taking a sleeping pill, and I've been having a really fucking hard time going to sleep since I started this adventure. So.
And plus, if you're zinc deficient and you're a male, and actually I don't know what it does for females, but if you're zinc deficient and you're a male, it helps restore testosterone creation.
Yeah.
Because if zinc is a required nutrient, and if you're low, it fucks with you.
You ever use those? You ever drink or take those zinc lozenges when you're like sick? They're basically like those things are amazing, but my God, do they taste bad? You can't. Oh yeah, they're Zicam or something like that. They are, but yeah, they're just basically they're like a fucking cough drop, but it has zinc in it, and it like they're remarkable. But oh my God, you gotta want it because they taste just like a fucking cat's ass, Yeah.
I didn't think they were that horrible.
Well,
I mean, cat's ass is not zinc lozenges. Fuck those things.
They're rad. So I don't know how long I'm gonna continue the old fasty, but I do think after I think when I break my fast, I'm going to transition into doing a keto diet for a while, just to continue on that process. Because now I feel like I've gotten rid of the toxins part of it. I've gone through that. I've done the heavy lifting with that 8, 9, 10, I don't know how long ago fast, but then now I'd like to continue going and yeah.
Don't break it with a large Domino's pizza and like chicken bites, and then maybe half a bottle of Basil Hayden's.
What's a Basil Hayden?
It's like bourbon.
Like that's one thing I'm interested in is what my alcohol tolerance will do once I
straight to Matthias.
Yes, right. You think you've seen Matthias?
3,
in the
2,
past.
1, launch. You're gonna jump to so many guards. It's
Right.
gonna be amazing.
I will have multiple concussions.
God, that was really funny to watch the first time when you fell. The second time you're on the concrete, I was a little concerned.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, there was some other dude.
There was some other dude. His name was Matthias.
Yeah.
Completely different guy.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of which, the 2 podcasts, so don't listen to me, listen to other smart people. Rhonda Patrick, Peter Attia. Go listen to them if you're interested in this.
Yeah.
2 smart people.
Rhonda Patrick, isn't she a race car driver?
Yeah, she's really good.
So I have like a baby crush on Rhonda Patrick, even though I actually don't even know what she looks like. I've only heard her voice, but she goes on the Joe Rogan show fairly often, and she's just super smart and really interesting. It's how I first got introduced to the idea of intermittent fasting. And if you don't know what that is, it's short-term fasting, usually 24 hours.
Yeah, Kyle, it's eating
I do it
all the time.
All the time.
Yeah, it's the opposite of that.
No, I mean, I fast all the time for hours at a time.
Hours.
It's grueling. I need to take supplements just to make it between meals.
Between 11Zs and lunch?
Tea time and 11Zs. Yeah. Sometimes that's the toughest one.
Yeah.
Indeed. All right, what do you got
on? There's some fights at the Myth this weekend.
This coming weekend?
Yeah. And I wanted to give a shout out to Shelby Nicky. You know Shelby.
Yeah, I don't know.
His mom's Sandy Bow. He trains down at. I don't know if he still trains at Black Arrow, but I guess he trains down in St. Cloud, so he probably doesn't train at Black Arrow.
I would assume not.
But he's actually fighting Mike Wall.
Oh yeah, I do know who you're talking about.
Yeah. Wanted to say good luck to him.
He doesn't need luck.
The fights will actually, by the time anyone sees this, those fights will be over.
Yes.
So I told him that we were going to make our predictions. I think that he's going to knock him around because the kid's got stand up. I think he's going to knock him around a little bit, but to still finish him, still submit him in the second round.
In this, you think
First
Mike
round,
Wall's going to go a whole round? You have no idea what we're talking about.
He's going to knock him around, and then he's going to take it to the ground. He's going to finish him in the first round.
Okay, so
I feel like I'm not going out on a limb.
You're doing what you're famous for. You're talking about people that these people have no idea what we're talking about. But even Sam has this look on his face like, I have nothing. But Mike Wall is a kid. No, he's not a kid. He's fucking 40-some years old. But who thinks he's tough or whatever, but it just talks a mad amount of shit on Facebook, including saying
I've seen these interviews.
Saying where he was gonna he wanted to fight Brock. He wanted to fight. Well, yeah, I could take Brock. I could definitely take him if we were in in hockey, on you put him on skates and I'd just fuck him up. And we had people trying to make that happen.
That'd be fucking great.
Brock's never been on skates in his life, but poor Mike Wall will die.
Make a bit of difference.
Actually, I don't know if Brock's not been on skates. He probably has been. And then that's the kid that Logan, my son, fought in whenever the last fight.
Yeah, he's doomed.
Yeah, Logan tapped him out in 12 seconds was, I think, the official time. So, yeah, the idea of him going to a second round, I think, is ridiculous. But I wouldn't mind seeing him get knocked about a little bit, you know, instead of just like choked unconscious instantly. But I just really wish he'd fucking quit.
I'd like, I'd like for him to, let him get in there, let him fight this fight. But before he gets another fight, I'd really like to, I'd like to see him evaluated.
Like mentally?
Yeah. I don't think that like maybe he was just, talking shit and then that's fun. But, maybe because if he believes that he really wanted to, have anything to do with like Brock, then he's probably like mentally ill.
Well, he does do better against bigger, stronger guys.
Faster.
That's what he said.
More skillful.
He's like, yeah, I do a lot better against bigger guys.
Well, then I better shut my mouth or he'll show up and kick my ass.
He's got to be. There's something wrong with him. He was telling Damian Hill on Damian Hill's podcast, which is Trash Talk. We should talk about that.
That's the one I saw.
Yeah, great episode. And Damian's does a great job. He's got a cool podcast going. Real short episodes. But he covers exclusively, regional MMA. And Damian Hill's like legit as a fighter. He's retired now because he's actually decided to like dedicate his his energy toward the podcast. He had a post. God, I'm jumping all over the place, but he had a post I read the other day and that I really liked about how he was at a real low point in his life and he decided he wanted to start this podcast, and he started the podcast and it's changed his life like so much for the better. And now he's, working full time, and he's like, when I take a job, I think, yeah, I can get better equipment. And yet, it's like, so like his whole, now he's at his own place. He's got a car, like he's really turned his life around. And it is, a lot of that has been due to the podcast. And I was like, I grok that, dude. I mean, like, I get what you're saying. Like, I wasn't in a low point in my life when we started this podcast, but I gotta say, it has definitely enriched my life having the opportunity to do this. It like, if somebody told me I couldn't do it anymore, that wouldn't work for me. So
Do you view this as like a talk therapy almost?
Yeah, it is. It's like talk therapy. It gives me an opportunity to be expressive and creative. It's also like immediate, like I love the feedback that we get from people, and
all
like,
seven.
Yeah, it like, I love the immediate feedback we get. Like, it's hard not to like get a kick out of people liking your shit, right? But then what really gets me is when people I see in life like are like, hey, you're the podcast guy, or I had a guy come into the bar the other night, and he was like, and he was looking at me weird, like I thought he was like fucking eyeing me up, like he wanted to kick my ass at first, and but I was bartending, and after a few minutes he's like, you're Kyle's guy.
You're Kyle's guy.
And I was like, yes
I almost started singing.
But he was like, yeah, I've seen your podcast, whatever. And I'm just like, who
was it?
Give me more. Fuck, he's a bartender out at Zorba's, and I wrote his name down to like.
Is he 8 feet tall?
Yeah, he seemed tall.
Yeah, okay.
Sitting down, but.
Super, like, did he have like a, was he like beard? Shaggy, like beard?
Yeah. Could you give me a name? Good
Kevin.
guess. Yes, Kevin.
Good.
I wrote it down.
Kevin's great.
Yeah, I was going to say Kevin or Jason or something like that. Yep. But yeah, Kevin. But just that, like, just made me like fucking, like I was like, dancing on clouds afterward. So when I went into Spectrum to get my internet over there, the guy behind the fucking counter was like,
"Oh yeah,
I know
shit.
you're like you're Matt Taylor, right? Yeah. I love your podcast." I was like, "I love you."
Yeah, he's a 9th Street fan too. I walked in there with the Be Social hat. He's like, "Oh, I fucking love that place."
Yeah, he even like remembered me from the Eclectic, but I had no idea who he was. But
Joe's the shit. He's a great. I'd like to actually get him on the show sometime. He's a smart guy, funny guy, very funny guy.
But I just get a hell of a kick out of that. So I get what Damien was saying. Mike Wallace fucked in the head, and he's going to get his tooth knocked out in this fight.
He's only got one left?
He's almost got none left. He
I
actually
didn't know there was one.
he actually asked the commissioner, Matt Showalter, at the fight in Brainerd if he had to wear a mouth guard because he didn't have any teeth left.
See, that shows that he doesn't even really know what a fucking mouth guard is for. You know, like. Oof.
Oh, but what I was going to say about Mike being batshit crazy is he was telling Damian Hill on his podcast that he made weight, and then after he made weight, he cut weight. So he said, yeah, when I weighed in at 123, because they were fighting at 125. I weighed in 123, but I was down 10 pounds before that fight.
That's super helpful.
And Damian's like, why the fuck would you cut weight after you made weight? And he's like, well, I just wanted to be lighter and quicker. And he goes,
he's not going to turn into the Flash or anything.
Like, get quicker by... fuck it.
He probably just didn't want to say meth binge.
Right.
If it would sound like meth binge. Thank you.
Nice.
Is this a good time to pause? I got to go pee again.
Yeah,
All right.
let's do that.
Again.
Yeah.
God, I wish we would have fucked up that first hour.
Yeah, you really fucked that up.
I'm totally blaming you. All right. Okay, let's take a quick break. And when we get back, we'll finish up with Dr. Gibbons.
Sweet.
Welcome back to Spitballing. I'm Matt Taylor here with my good buddy
Kyle Amundsen.
And again, we have Dr. Sam Gibbons in the house. He's not actually a doctor.
Yeah, I'm totally a doctor.
Okay, he's totally a doctor. So Sam, actually, I had a question for you. We talked the other day about Twitch, and
yeah,
I ended up having a really interesting conversation with Meta's one of Meta's oldest sons. I can't remember if he's the oldest, but they're twins, so I can't remember which one came out first. But Corbin.
Does the conversation, is it based upon who came out first?
No, it doesn't.
Okay. Right.
But Corbin and his girlfriend are really into Twitch, and like she was getting a check from them, and I was like, go back and explain to me everything from the beginning. So we had like a really interesting conversation about it, and I didn't understand it. Like they were using words I couldn't understand.
You and I talked about this.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you forgot half of it, but
right, we did. Yeah, we did talk a little bit about it. But explain it to me.
Twitch?
Yeah.
You want like a history? Or you just want to kind of run down what it is?
What do you got?
Yeah,
started as Justin TV. People would get on, they would stream shit. In the beginning, they would just get away with streaming whatever they wanted. Now it's gamer centric, and then it's starting to branch out again. There's social stuff, but you live stream your gameplay. People watch you. People like you. If they like you, they can follow you. And if they really like you, they have a subscribe button. You can subscribe to them for $5 at least.
Which is way less scary than if I like you and I follow you.
Yeah, your subscription is I'm dead in a field somewhere. Then you subscribe. Twitch gets half. You get the other half.
Really? Okay.
The biggest streamers in the world, Dr. Disrespect, Shroud, a lot of the MOBA game people, they have 10,000, tens of thousands of subscribers. Ninja, who was the biggest before he left Twitch, I think at one time he had like 80,000 subscribers at $2.50 in his pocket. Plus people donate. And they'll donate just to get their name to pop up on the screen saying, so-and-so donated $5.
Huh.
He was making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month.
And it was, the way they were explaining to me, it's very interactive. Like you're able to see like who donates. People can comment and everything like that. And so you could actually we could be doing a show and we could be reacting to what people say.
I was talking about OBS before, which is a software open broadcaster.
Yep, I watched a couple tutorials on it.
So on the screen here, there would be like a little, we could have a little chat window where people are chatting, or the donation would pop up and stuff like that. And you can be interactive. You could have like a tablet here, and you could see people chatting with you while you're live streaming your podcast, and you can react to it. Or you can have an idiot like Jamie from Joe Rogan behind the screen. I was
thinking if we do this, you might have to be our idiot, like Jamie. But
I can hit myself with a tech hammer.
Yeah,
I think you should be doing it because at the very least you're going to get somebody subscribing, And then one of your generous benefactors out there will accidentally drop you $100 or something every once in a while.
And again, we've talked about this from the beginning that we're really not doing this to make money.
But it wouldn't hurt.
Money, I don't want to say money never hurts, actually. Sometimes it does.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I didn't want to do is I don't want to ever have to sacrifice content for
And you shouldn't.
advertisers and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And that's something. But it sounds to me like this, like Twitch doesn't really give a shit what you're doing. Like they don't.
They do. I mean, there's a code of conduct there. You can't have. You can get reported for racist shit.
Oh yes, for sure.
You can get reported for nudity. You can get reported for. Don't touch another man's microphone.
Von Matthew says, "Put your fucking mouth on your microphone."
And apparently,
That was my German accent. Kyle's like,
No, I didn't. Even,
Was that?
I thought he was.
Was that German?
I just thought he was having a stroke.
It's from his fucking hunger strike.
Yeah, it's eating your brain. It's leaving a plaque there.
I just thought of 15 fucking inappropriate things to say about Auschwitz, but I didn't.
I think Twitch is a good idea for. I think live streaming is a good idea for you.
Right.
I think you need to figure it out. I would gladly help you with that.
Yeah. Well, I'm interested in it. I'm definitely interested in like the part that I like about it more than just the idea that people could like donate if they wanted to is being able to have people like interact with us during the podcast, because that sounds fun. And we have some, really, really loyal, watchers that I can't wait to hear what they have to say about the podcast.
And you can get it in real time. Yeah.
Right. I mean, like Ron Barron's always has something fun to say about the podcast.
Yeah.
And Eric Anderson always has something.
But that means that you have to do this at a time during the day when people are available to watch it.
Yeah. And that was actually one of the things that Corbin said too, like the most successful podcasters, the most successful Twitch casters, I guess you'd call them, have like time slots that they do,
and they are
and
very
they stick
strict
to them.
Yep.
And that's not always
consistency is key.
That's not always the case. Like, and I really wish I could remember Corbin's girlfriend's name. It's on the tip of my tongue. But, she made this, I don't know, $120 or whatever, because she sat there and played some fairly new video game and, chatted with people while doing it. Yep. And, she's a, cute young woman and people were just, throwing money at her. But I was like, I don't know, Kyle and I are fucking way hotter than her. So like, I figure we would be getting.
Even if you weren't, personality, I think wins a lot more. Personality and interaction with the audience is the best thing, period.
Well, it's something I think we should definitely like pursue, in the future. I did do.
If we can just keep our racism and nudity in check, which is a big part of who we are. So.
Right.
Yeah.
You are nude.
And you are black.
Well, apparently I'm a never nude. So.
You're never nude? I mean, like Arrested Development?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
What's his name? David Cross.
I love David Cross.
Yeah. That he's supposedly my
doppelganger.
My doppelganger.
Yes.
And I don't see it at all.
He is.
And I was like, seriously, if of anybody you're gonna fucking compare me to, it's got to be the goddamn never nude guy from Arrested Development.
That's not. I mean,
like actually, I've watched some of his stand-up comedy, and he is funny as fuck and everything. But the character that he played in Arrested Development was a little turd. I just, was like, I don't think that's who I want to be. So
what a great show.
Well, we're gonna explore more on Twitch for sure.
I think you should.
Yeah, and then that doesn't disqualify us from still broadcasting it then on YouTube.
Yeah,
broadcasting
it
like then on on Facebook and then doing the actual podcast platforms.
The even better thing about that is that let's say you record to Twitch, they have the VOD on Twitch. And when people are watching, they actually watch the live chat as it happened during that thing. And they can interject later, even stuff more into the chat at the same time sync. I'd have to explain it to you.
Yeah.
It's pretty fucking badass.
That sounds like it would be like a lot of fun for us.
Oh, you guys would have a great time.
No, yeah, I think it would definitely be fun.
At the end of the day, that's what we're about.
For sure. Yeah.
So. And
then I was also looking at it, and I can't even remember what he called it, but it's a board that has basically buttons on it. So like we would, could do your intro, bam, and then like we could record shit that we wanted to play while we took breaks. So like we were talking about doing a PSA for not driving on the driving slow in the left lane. And so we could do like a little PSA for that. We could play that, during while we take our potty break and stuff. So
you have to also research the ad policy. You have to play ads.
Oh yeah, which we could broadcast those during. Yeah,
it's not your ads, but it's somebody else's.
Right, their ads. Yeah. So definitely something that we might want to look forward in the future. The only thing that I think is kind of a drawback to it is I don't think a lot of our current viewers use Twitch or watch Twitch, whatever. So we may have to bring them over to it if they want to watch it live. But on the other hand, maybe they do. Maybe I'm completely wrong.
What's your demographic? Is it mostly cousin fuckers, or is it?
No, I think that we've eliminated most of the cousin fuckers. We're pretty hard on those guys.
Turns out they don't self-identify like that. Oh. At least publicly, and they fucking hate us. So, I still haven't figured that out.
So nobody.
I'm trying to mend those fences. If we could just get those fuckers off their cousins long enough to come work on the fence with us, but no, but I mean, worst case scenario, we branch out. People can still watch it however they want. Just reaching out to a different demographic, probably a demographic who's parents will get mad if they see what they're watching. But.
No, actually, that's not true though. That's what I thought too. I'm like, Jesus Christ, this is going to be all fucking teenage kids.
Not true.
And there is a ginormous number of teenage kids that are on Twitch, but there's a ginormous number of 40-year-old men that are also on Twitch.
I watch Twitch.
Right. Yep. Yeah. It's not that's what I thought too. And I Googled it and there's Twitch is like YouTube as far as demographic goes.
I'm repping.
Well, fuck! I thought our groupies were going to get way hotter.
No. It's gonna be middle-aged dudes.
That's what I'm talking about.
I'm actually repping a dude who streams on Twitch right now, Matt Colville, DM. He got famous on
I was going to ask
YouTube.
About that.
And he just talks about D&D, and he's kind of like this Uber GM kind of guy, and so he's really into explaining the process of the game and all that stuff. But he has a live stream. He just gets on there and talks about what the fuck he wants to.
I'm always looking for shit like that because I watch that kind of shit.
In the D&D
when I actually do
world.
Podcast.
What's that?
So you were talking on Facebook about you wanted to, and I didn't know if you were at all serious about it, about how you wanted to start.
Half serious, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm actually mostly serious.
Starting your own
I thought
podcast.
it was hilarious, just the onion thing, but yeah.
Well, the idea of, there was didn't you post it?
He posted the Onion article. No, I posted the Onion article, and I said he just replied to it.
Oh, okay. Because it was the Onion article was about.
I was just taking a piss out of you guys.
About about how
everybody has their own podcast.
Everybody has their own podcast, but they don't have podcast guests.
Yeah, everybody's desperately searching for a podcast guest. I should have tagged Dave, but Dave wasn't on my friends list at the
time. But the idea for your podcast that you were talking about, you wanted to call it Building Character.
Yeah,
and it was going to be a podcast where you would actually build a character in D&D.
We'd pick a game system and we'd make a character.
Or not necessarily D&D. It could be GURPS. It could be anything.
But that's the subtext. Most of the text is going to be whatever we're going to talk about while we're doing it.
About character building experiences, life experiences. Yeah.
Did you watch when we talked about that on the show? And I was talking about GURPS and using disadvantages and stuff like that. Oh
goddamn it! I missed something where you were talking about GURPS.
Man, well, yeah, because we were talking about that, and I'm like, we'd want to generate a character using GURPS, especially if you want it to be if you wanted to generate like a character if you were going to generate you the character, you totally could, but you'd need to use GURPS to keep it more realistic,
right? D&D's too nebulous.
disadvantages and stuff like that, you've got this disadvantage and this disadvantage and stuff, like
necrophiliac, kleptomaniac. Yeah. You can do it.
Necrophiliac, kleptomaniac. That's a great combo.
Well, you break into graveyards, you want to steal all the bodies and then fuck them.
Right. Why not?
Crypts is awesome. Yeah. So I was sort of serious.
Yeah. Well, I think it'd be a great idea.
I think so too.
I just got to devote time to that, which
well,
I kind of have some.
If you do start this and you want 2 quality guests that are very charactery,
let me know who they are.
I will
give me their emails.
We will find you something.
Okay.
Hey,
no, I think Kyle and I would love to come on.
Fuck yeah! What's this guy's name again?
Matt Colville, Colville, and then it's just DM. He runs a live. So if you've heard of
so DM stands for direct marketing.
Yeah, Dick Master. There's on Twitch. There's a bunch of live streamed D&D games. There's the biggest of all is Acquisitions Incorporated. Then there's
that's
the other
one that I've
with
watched.
Matt Mercer, and I can't remember what it's called.
And when we talked about those on the show too, and I was like, man, I watch these guys, and it just makes me think we should have been recording our fucking sessions.
God dang right.
Because,
we could have. Golly, we could. We sure could have.
I mean, we're like. I mean, of course, maybe it would ruin it for people because we were like. I know some people can't imagine that people more geeky than us, but if you saw these, you'd know what I was talking about.
Well, Peyton's been listening to a podcast. And it literally is just guys sitting around playing D&D.
Then there's a dozen of them.
And he just laughs his ass off. And I'm like, what?
Critical Role is the one I was thinking of. Yeah, he's a really big, tall, goofy-looking comedian, big, thick dude. But he has his own podcast that's basically just them playing D&D, swearing, being awful. It's fun.
Yeah, well, I'm super interested in the idea of doing Twitch, but also, let's get a game going, and if we made it into a podcast, then we could justify doing it.
And the most fun is just the interaction of the people playing, not necessarily the game or what you're doing.
I have played D&D. I get it. It's not necessary with the game.
I'm talking about for them, not for you.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
He got mad when I said GURPS I'm like that's generic universal.
I fucking know what it is.
Yeah, I'm like, geez, take it easy. I stepped
was he fasting at the time?
I stepped on his nerd cred or something.
2 days in. Yeah. I was a little aggressive.
He was a crabby motherfucker.
Still pretty crabby. A little crotchety. Cool. All right. What else do you have on your list, Kyle?
Well, I've got some fun stuff.
I see it.
Yeah. Everybody likes it when I talk about this. It's some cop shooting stuff.
I have something I want to say about that too.
So it was 2 incidents. Now, both of them, oddly enough, took place in Texas.
Dallas Fort Worth Police Department represent.
Yeah, and one happened in Dallas, one happened in Fort Worth. Weird. The first one. Now the one that's the more recent of the 2. You know what? Let's go back to the less recent one. Amber Geyer. She's not a police officer. She's a former police officer, and she was sentenced to 10 years. What happened was, Amber lives in an apartment building, and she sees she's coming home, sees the door is ajar. Opens up the door, shoots Botham Jean. It was an African American gentleman, and shoots and kills him. Discovers that she has walked into my bad. Thought this was my apartment. Turns out it's your apartment, dead guy. So she walks into the wrong fucking apartment,
right,
and shoots this guy, kills him.
Incredible.
And and honest mistake. I make mistakes all the time. Sometimes I leave my blinker on after I pass somebody or whatever. Things like that. She got 10 years, and people made a big deal about like the judge came down and gave her a hug. You know, like the guys, like both of them, Gene's brother, forgave her, which is, you know, that's cool. You know, good for him, man. Good on you, brother. But I couldn't help but thinking, damn, Texas. If she was a mentally handicapped black man, you would have executed the fuck out of her. You know, because they do that down there.
They would have tried to bring her back.
So I listened to this story on NPR, and like I was like, I thought it was fucking horrible. Now, I don't even know if I consider this a police shooting.
Oh, it's not.
It was just. It's about a person.
She's a former. She doesn't work as a cop anymore.
It's a concerned citizen with a gun.
Right. Yeah. I actually found it really tragic and like horrible. Like, and I'm sure she does too. Like, I mean, she can't feel good about that. I mean, first of all, that's really fucking dumb. On the other hand, I used to own a green Astro van, and there are a lot of green Astro vans in the world. And I was at Costco one day, and I thought I left my van unlocked, but apparently I didn't. So I come out of Costco and I go to get in my van, and I fucking locked my keys in the car. My keys in the van. This was a while ago because my dad was still cognitive at the time. So I called my dad to come and bring me my spare set of keys. And as my dad was pulling into the parking lot, somebody got into my Astro and drove away.
Fucking car thieves.
And did you shoot him 3 times in a tight grouping?
I didn't shoot him, but I was like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And he's like, "What are you doing?" As he puts his key in the door and opens it up and gets in the van. I was like, "Nothing." He pulls out. I'm sorry, I'm laughing. He pulls out, and I can clearly see my Astro van right over there.
It's like right out of a fucking comedy. It's like he pulls away and there's yours is right behind it.
Yes, like you couldn't have scripted it worse. Now you want to know the funny part? My dad pulls up like right about the same time, and he goes, "Oh, I brought your key," and I was like, "Oh, I got it. I got it. I got in." Like I didn't even admit to him that I was at the wrong van.
Oh shit.
Actually, I don't think I admitted it to anybody until right now. See, now the entire world knows.
Yeah, and they don't care.
It can happen to anybody. Just don't shoot them in the chest. Sometimes.
Yeah. Well, I almost shot the guy who was trying to get in. It's so fucking dumb.
I was going to make a joke about, like, she can't be happy about, what she did. I mean, it depends on how much of a gun nut she is, if she really liked her grouping or not. Too soon?
There are silver linings.
Yeah.
That was pretty tragic, though.
Horrible. It's horrible.
And I mean, can you imagine it, though? Like, you walk into your own apartment, and all of a sudden, like, there's a dude who has changed all the furniture.
And he says, "What are you doing in my apartment?" And you go, Kyle, take over.
Pew, pew, pew. I feel bad because a guy died.
Yeah, he fucking died.
It's fucking horrible.
Because a woman couldn't recognize the fact that it wasn't her perfectly curated apartment.
Right.
It had nothing to do with the woman. It's just that's who it was.
Who the fuck took down my live, laugh, love sign?
Oh. Does she have a Karen?
No shit. She just moved up to like some kind of fucking super Karen. Like I just asked to talk to the manager. She
super Saiyan Karen.
That motherfucker.
Oh Jesus.
And then then there's the more recent one, which is like I couldn't find anything funny. Like I can't even find anything funny about that. So an officer in Fort Worth, Aaron Dean, they got that body camera footage of him shooting that lady through her own window. He's prowling around outside
at 2:30 in the morning.
Yeah, and shoots her through the window. She was up with her nephew or whatever playing video games, and so shoots her,
asking for it.
Yeah,
and they,
well, how violent was the video game? I guess that's
right. But they canned him and charged him with murder. I guess would that be probably second-degree murder?
Well,
but
what did he think was going on?
He was responding to like there was like an open garage door or open gate or something like that, And I don't think it was a call with like where somebody had seen somebody doing something. I think somebody just called about
But why the fuck is your first response to shoot
through a window? Like I think she was armed, wasn't she? But like she was in her own fucking home, some shit like that. But she's in the house. You're prowling outside, and you shot her through the window. And that just, but I mean, when that, like we talk about training all the time, and we talked about that with Troy and stuff like that. And, he talked about that simulator and shit. I'm like, and I always get back to that whole, like, Minnesota has a higher quality of policing because it's harder to become a cop here. I don't know what their standards are like in Texas.
Well, Minnesota has post. There's another state that has something like post, right?
We're one of the hardest places in the country to become a cop, and then and of course because this took place in Texas, I just assumed that like you fucking if you count to 20, like if you can count to 20 like barefoot or whatever, like fucking it's Texas. So nothing funny about that one.
Do you know that there are more tigers in Texas than in the wild? There are more tigers
in
that
captivity,
live
obviously,
as pets, not like in zoos and shit, but as pets.
That doesn't seem like a responsible choice for a pet.
Yeah, it's easier to get a license to get a tiger in Texas than it is to get a license to get a dog that is considered a dangerous dog. Not that I don't think you should have to have a license to get a dangerous dog. I absolutely do.
Sure.
I think you should have to have a license to carry a gun, and I think you should have to have a license to own a pit bull. But apparently it's easier to get that license to get a tiger than it is in Texas. So
we always make fun of Florida, like not we necessarily, but like a lot of people, everybody makes fun of Florida nowadays. But Texas is pretty fucking weird too.
It's a weird place. I lived there for a short period of time when I was young, and it was weird.
Man.
So speaking on the cop, on the cop issue, I did watch the video of the officer
St. Paul,
in St. Paul that got rear-ended by the dude and then like chased down with a knife. And I like I've never seen a more clear-cut case of like somebody attempting. Or not even attempting.
Suicide by cop,
like completing suicide by cop. It was just crazy. But then the chief of police, I liked what he said about it, because he was, like he was responding and whatever to it. And he said, just because somebody has a badge doesn't make them wrong. And just because somebody has a microphone or a megaphone doesn't make them right. And I was like, spot on, solid. And it was pretty tragic because it's like this officer who clearly
clearly did not want to. He was not looking to shoot this guy.
Dude,
he did not want to shoot this guy. He tried fucking everything. Like I wouldn't have tried as many
if
things.
If that wasn't a cop, even if that wasn't even a cop, that was just Joe Shit the Rag Man who happened to be wearing a body cam, and we saw that.
Yeah.
Somebody rear ends you, you get out of the car, they start chasing you with a knife. You fucking flee around your vehicle to get away from, even land on your ass once, get back up and be like, get that fucking, whatever.
Was the guy, I don't know if it's relevant. What was the color of the guy's skin who got?
He's black, right?
Yeah.
I actually didn't. the video, it's really hard to see, but yeah, I believe he was black, and that's what the protest. Yeah, like I know he is because that was what the protests were about. Black officer kills black man. Get the fucking signs. Get the megaphone. Let's go.
Yeah.
Well, in this case,
asking for justice and shit.
This guy, whatever the dude's name was, rear ends this cop. The cop gets out of the car. The guy charges right at him with a knife, and the cop
asking to be killed.
Runs away from him backwards. Ends up falling down. Like the cop jumps away from the knife and ends on the ground. We have no idea because we can't see, but I'm assuming at that point pulls his gun and says, "Put the fucking knife down. Put the fucking knife down." Guy won't put him down, and he plugs him.
So that's the kind of restraint you want to see in every situation, right?
Every situation.
Yes. Hell yeah. But that's, hey, there's one in Minnesota, but yeah, I mean, at that point, it's not just justifiable. It is his responsibility.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, because, okay, well, what if you don't put this guy down? Well, then he's going to kill you. And is he going to stop with you? You don't fucking know. This guy's crazy. Like, he's fucking running around with a knife trying to kill somebody.
Right.
It's not just, like I said, responsibility at that point.
No, that was, I feel like that was a clear-cut case of homicide by police officer.
Yeah, and that's,
homicide and suicide by police officer.
In that instance, race does not come into it at all.
No, and cop doesn't come into it at all. The only reason that we know it happened this way is because the cop was wearing a body cam. But if that was just a case of self-defense, right? It was a clear-cut case of self-defense.
Absolutely.
You get rear-ended, you get out of your car, you have a permit to carry. A guy charges you with a knife and you shoot him, it's justified. I mean, that's self-defense. You can't not say that you were afraid for your life when the guy is chasing you with a knife. And I feel like sometimes we hold cops to a higher standard in the self-defense realm.
He wasn't looking to butter some toast for you or some shit.
Yeah, but you should be holding cops to a higher standard.
Not in the self-defense realm, though. Like, we absolutely should hold cops to a higher standard in, da-da-da-da-da. But this cop was being attacked at that point. Like,
so are you saying that any attack that is potentially life-threatening should be put down with lethal violence? I'm actually almost of the mind that we should have disarmed patrolmen.
I don't necessarily disagree with you that it might be not a bad idea to have disarmed patrolmen, or non-lethally armed patrolmen. I think we're at a point where we could have non-lethal.
And then pay them.
Wouldn't we need some kind of disarmed society for that, though?
What? That's part of the problem is that then only the bad guys get.
Yeah, which is.
But I mean, this is so when you talk about rules of engagement in the military, very often rules of engagement, are set up where the military forces are, kind of have their hands tied to not you can't engage until XYZ happens, right? But self-defense trumps rules of engagement. Like, if somebody is actively attacking you, you have the right to defend yourself. Cops have no less of a right to defend themselves than you do.
So I think it should be that you get paid an awful lot of money to keep the peace non-violently until you have to call in other guys who've been kind of sitting and waiting for violence to happen. But if that's your job is to lay your life down for the peace, not to kill somebody because they rushed you with a knife. I mean, yeah, sure, defend yourself, shock them, whatever you have to do, and call in for backup when you need to. But when you're just wandering around at 2:30 a.m. and you see a black woman through a window and she has maybe a gun, maybe a toy gun, and you shoot her through the fucking window.
Yeah, but Sam, what I'm saying,
I know what you're saying,
is that so let's take that exact example. So you are walking around, you have a permit to carry, you see a lady in her house with a gun, and you shoot her, you are a murderer.
Yeah.
And so is that cop. You get rear-ended by a dude, you get out of your car, that guy starts coming at you with a knife, and you shoot him.
But I'm not a cop.
You are justified. You aren't. in that situation, right?
You're using
That
the same
cop is-
context, but I'm not a cop.
I know that. What I'm saying is that the cop has no less of a right to protect himself with lethal force than you do.
I disagree.
Really?
Yeah.
You think the cop has less of a right to defend himself with lethal force than you do?
I think it builds a trust in peace in peacekeepers. I think that's what they're there for. I think there should be like a level of lethal force that takes place, but that's the last resort. I mean, like,
Well, I think that absolutely is last resort.
no, apparently it isn't.
But when you're being attacked by somebody,
Like a guy just sitting in his car and telling you he has his permit.
not talking that.
I know you're not.
Totally different.
But you take the gun away from the guy, and what happens? Not the guy sitting in the car, but the cop. He doesn't get shot.
No argument.
Yeah.
But what I am saying is that when a cop is being like attacked with lethal force, they should have the same right, and they absolutely do have the same right to defend themselves as Joe Shit the Ragman does. They don't have more of a right to defend themselves. Actually, the truth is that they actually probably do have more of a right in the eyes of the law. But I'm not saying that's correct. But I'm saying they have at least as much right to defend themselves with lethal force as a regular person
I think
does.
their life is worth the same, but I think the position that they're asking to occupy, which is a position of power and authority over other people, and we're giving it to them willfully, I don't think they should have the power of life and death like that so quickly. Or the training has to be so much better than it is.
No disagreement on the idea that that training has to be more.
There's something there, some middle ground there. I don't know what it is.
We've said that since day one. Even when we were talking to Troy about it, that was absolutely true. That that he agreed. We don't pay police officers enough. We also don't train police officers enough. We don't give them the tools that they need to effectively carry out their jobs without having to,
especially in Texas, apparently.
Especially in Texas. Well, we don't give them the equipment that they need to effectively do their jobs without resorting to lethal force more often than is necessary.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you, but I just don't know if there's more to be had there besides training and paying officers more.
Yeah, well, those two things definite: training, equipment, paying officers more,
and maybe weeding out some of the psychopaths that just like being in charge.
Oh no, I agree with that for sure.
I feel like we do a much better job of that. I feel like we do a pretty good job of that here in Minnesota, and I think that the bulk of the guys that do make it through, that do make the grade and stuff, do. I think the guys that do slip through that are most of the guys that do slip through that are not what you would want, not maybe not cop caliber. I think they get weeded out later by the job. I know, I've seen that happen.
Or by their peers.
Yeah. There was one sticks out. Actually, a guy that kicked my ass while I had handcuffs. While I was having my hands handcuffed behind my back. He didn't stay a cop for very long.
Well, that's the only time I want to kick your ass, though.
Well, sometimes that's the only time I want my ass kicked. But usually, I've paid good money for that treatment. But yeah, shit. It had that had nothing to do with my instance either, because I'm pretty sure the other cops that were there were down with that. But no, he didn't. For other shit he got in trouble with, he did not stay a cop very long. But yeah, so that's that shit.
There's tough answers there.
Let's put a pin in cop killers. What?
Yeah,
or cop killing or kill whatever.
Yeah, we'll do it.
Let's put a pin in all of it.
Sam, have you seen The Notebook?
Kyle, go fuck yourself.
Have you seen it?
No.
Okay.
Damn it.
So it's something we ask everybody.
I think he's lying. I think he's got a good Notebook story.
I don't. I really have not seen The Notebook.
Damn it.
No, I have not seen The Notebook.
It's not something you think about. If you've seen it.
Yeah. True.
I've seen The Pianist, though. No.
I have not seen that.
Yeah, it's not great. Basically, it's all about Harvey Keitel's Wang.
What movies aren't?
You know, I think life is all about Harvey Keitel's Wang.
We talked about Scorsese, didn't we?
Yeah.
So did we? Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Several times.
Yeah, I just can't remember.
Recorded.
Yeah.
There's The Irishman, which is coming out on Netflix.
Yes.
3
Much
hours
anticipated.
and 45 minutes long, apparently.
Just a short one.
A short movie. If you like being bored to tears, is what I'm hearing. If you like old man slow drama.
Right. Or, you know, as I'm sure he considers it like high art that maybe I probably just wouldn't be interested in because I like fucking superhero movies. Oh, pompous fuck. But, you know.
I was going to mention that when you brought up Scorsese.
Martin, if you'd like to come on the show and
Marty.
give us your take on stuff, we're open to that.
You can bring Bobby, too.
I don't know who Bobby is.
De Niro.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I would be way more interested in meeting Robert De Niro.
I
still haven't seen Taxi Driver.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, it's an old show.
Yeah, but I feel like I should see that. Man, I'm out of stuff. Do you have anything else?
Oh, good.
I exhausted.
I'm not saying, oh, good, you're out of stuff, but I know you had a pile of stuff that you wanted to get to.
Oh, yeah.
What do you got, Sambo?
I got a whole bunch of stuff, but it's a bunch of bullshit. I have been.
Well, that's what we do.
I have been digging really deep on the internet lately, and actually, I have been for.
You porn?
No. There's better ones than that.
Motherless. Well,
So I just being on Facebook again, or after like a 6-year window of not being on, maybe even longer. If I don't remember when it was.
welcome back. I've enjoyed your stuff so far.
Yeah, so I've been like memeing it up and throwing out stupid shit on the post just to see what sticks. And thanks for stealing one of them. It makes me feel good.
Man, right? That's what I do.
He Vikinged it.
I paid an iron prize for that shit.
At least I wasn't pillaged. The raping was nice though. I've been running across some of the stupidest shit out there, like the crazy libertarian posts. So like a lot of the meme guys that I follow, like on Twitter and stuff like that, are just burn it to the ground crazies. And I can't remember where I was going with that, but have you guys talked about so we got an election coming up, taxation, anything along those lines? I saw this really cool website, and it's called like I want to say it's like the New Tax Project or something like that. I would have to go find it and put it in comments. But you can go and build your own tax scale, right?
Okay.
And you can show like how to pay for certain things by changing who gets taxed what and how much, and you can compare it to like Bernie Sanders' plan, the current plan, what has happened over the last 40 years as the tax rate for the wealthiest has come down. And it's fucking crazy shit. Like if you want Medicare for all, or if you want to not pay for anything, like what we get paid, what we get taxed now versus what we were taxed, say in 1945. 70% of your income versus 23% now.
70% of your income was what you got taxed in 45?
Yeah, if you were making like $200,000 or more, I think back then for
equivalent,
the scale.
$200,000?
Yeah. No, not equivalent. $200,000 then, probably millions now.
Well, conservatives long for the salad days, you know, our golden era and stuff, only they have no concept of what that means.
I mean, the golden era of post World War II, when everything was booming and everybody's being taxed appropriately. Then after Eisenhower, it went downhill.
So this website shows you that, you know, who you'd have to tax, or like, so
it presupposes that you have a certain yearly debt, right? Like what you have to pay for, you know, health care.
Like, and these are
Big
relatively
military.
realistic
I use
numbers.
conservatives loosely, by the way. I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
Yeah,
like I said, I
these are
consider
real
myself
numbers,
conservative.
and then you have projections where you can do like we want to have health care for everybody, like Medicare for all, or if you want to have re-tax the corporate, you know, increase the corporate tax rate, have a national tax or a VAT, value added tax, so there's like a little tiny tax on everything you buy,
Okay.
or a flat tax, and then you can show the brackets as, you know, as you go wealthy, super wealthy, you can tax completely differently. And you can model it all on your own, and you can see if you need a military, this is how much you need to tax. If you want a healthcare, this is what you need to tax to pay for everything that we have.
I think I have
mind blowing.
I think I have a fucking idea. I think we need to come out with like Sim America, right? Where,
mandatory.
And then, it doesn't even have to be mandatory. Just like, and because people will fucking play it, and then have all this shit like, whatever, and then mine the data for actual like working concepts, like what works best.
Crowdsourcing information, crowdsourcing ideas, and outcomes, crowdsourcing outcomes, because like if you you said, okay, fine, we'll just set it, we'll only tax the 1% and we'll let everybody else do whatever. Well, what happens to those societies? Do those societies prosper? Do they fucking fail? Like, do they? And this is something that they should be able to like. They could like. You could model that. I'm pretty sure
you could model that. I mean, fuck, Sim Earth was like, I never played it, but like seemed like that worked pretty good. You could just put all your focus into the industrial complex, and then the Earth would die.
Are you guys taxation is theft people? Are you like
dude? We're not fucking smart. We don't know what the fuck we're talking about.
Do you think that there should be an income tax?
No, I would probably like I always talk about I don't always talk about it on here because I don't want to fucking alienate too many people, but it's so hard to identify completely with a certain group. I figure I don't know if I'm big. Sometimes I feel like I'm not a big enough pussy to be a good liberal, and then sometimes I feel like I always feel like I'm either too smart or too conscientious to be a good conservative. But then I'm I know a lot of smart people that are libertarians, but I'm not smug enough to be one of them.
They are smug motherfuckers.
Smug.
Holy shit.
Fuck.
And they're willing to tell you that they're a libertarian just after they tell you they're vegan or they do CrossFit.
There's no such thing as a vegan libertarian. Come on.
So it's fucking hard to find a home. I don't consider myself a centrist.
Are you a Bill Clinton Democrat is what you're saying?
You mean a Clintonista?
Clintonista.
Yeah. I do miss that guy.
The only reason I ask about the tax thing is like, I believe that there's a social contract between each of us, us included, and everybody else you see, so that before you're born and what your status in life is going to be, you have to figure out a way to help everybody else, in some way. There's social welfare, making sure that everybody else is taken care of, whether you're going to be rich or not. So now you have to design a tax system that says this is how I'm going to take care of everybody. This is how I'm going to defend our country. So who gets taxed the most? The poor people, the people who make just under $100,000 a year, or the super fucking wealthy, who are being taxed in some cases less than I get taxed.
Right. Like, to me, it's obvious that you want to tax the high end and not the low end.
Right. So
but
it should be
only maybe
progressive tax.
That's because I'm in the low end. So I mean, you say, do I believe in income tax? And I'm like, oh, I don't pay it. Like, I'm poor. I don't like pay. I mean, maybe I pay a little pittance, but like it's not much. But I don't know. You don't have
to go that route though, because plenty of people are doing that for you. As far as maybe I think that just because of this, people are so like when I talk about healthcare and stuff, and being for a single payer system, because if you don't think there's a problem with healthcare, then you're a fucking idiot. And if you can't conceive of someone because I've got great insurance, but some people can't conceive of anyone wanting other people to have great insurance too, and access to services, access to medical care and stuff like that. So they're like, oh, you just want everything for, I'm like, I do not ask for fucking anything for myself. I do not want free shit. But that's what, they're quick to point the finger, you just want this for yourself. You don't want it for yourself necessarily. You want other people to have the same fucking, like, you want to, maybe if not the same, then at least some good quality access to, you know, these things that make our fucking society a better, like a kinder, more worthwhile fucking society.
So I listened to a Joe Rogan podcast a while ago, and I cannot remember the name of his guest, but his guest was a conservative, like a pure fiscal conservative. And he's like, I don't give a shit about social issues. Like, this, what I give a shit about is just pure, like,
small government,
like fiscal conservative. Really wasn't about those. It was about finances, you know, economical, you know, conservatism. And I really, really enjoyed the podcast. And his thing was that, like, they were talking about universal basic income and whatever. And, you know, Joe said that, you know, what do you think about that idea? And he's like, it's ridiculous. But this is what the thing is that, you know, we're a prosperous society, and as a prosperous society, like, we should have 100% of our citizens should have the basic health care that they need. You know, there should be a safety net, a social safety net that nobody can fall through, so nobody starves to death in our country. There should be a social safety net that allows so that, like, nobody is going to go without a place to live. And he said, and those are conservative values, because those aren't, like, you know. And then the other thing was, they were talking about, I don't know if they were talking about, but somebody was talking about how, like, preschool, right? Preschool is a big, like, you know, issue a while ago, you know, the whole, like, Early Childhood Development Act and all, or I don't even know if it was an act, but Early Childhood Development. And it was kind of like one of those things that a lot of liberals were really in support of. But there are also a few conservatives that were really in support of it. And the reason was because it made fiscal sense to do it, right? We know that the science dictates that the investing in early childhood development has a ridiculous long-term payoff. So it's fiscally conservative to invest in early childhood development.
Same with healthcare, I think, is the same line of things.
Same with healthcare.
Absolutely.
It is fiscally conservative to have universal healthcare, good universal healthcare for everyone, so that you don't have to, so that people don't spend the healthy parts of their life not going to the doctor, developing issues that are going to be
even more of a burden on society later.
When they get into long-term care. You know what? Including, oh my God, I don't want to say it, but illegal immigrants. Because if you don't have health care for illegal immigrants, then their only choice is to go to the emergency room.
And somebody's going to pay for it.
And we have a law in our country where you can't not serve them, because we're a fucking civilized nation. That's what we're supposed to do.
Because physicians take an oath that treat the leg in front of you.
Yeah.
You know, if the guy's hurt, fix him.
Yeah.
That's what your oath said.
It's called the Hippocratic Oath.
The hippopotamus oath.
Right. I thought mine was better.
Well, whatever.
Hippocratic. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think social mobility, I think the rising tide raises all boats. That's my philosophy. Educate them, keep them healthy. America will be better.
Well, then there's that problem with education, because when you educate people, you know, you might wind up making fiscal conservatives, but you're not going to make social conservatives by educating them. Just going to put that out there.
Well, yeah. And the fact is that, well, I ain't getting into education, but the entire education system is
a little broken.
Do you listen to Dan Carlin?
I have. I haven't listened to him for a couple of years.
Well, so you've missed 2 episodes.
That's fucking true.
He puts about 6
episodes. And they are actually 2 years long. So they are
fucking, but he's an amazing podcaster. He does a really remarkable history podcast called Hardcore History. And I cannot emphasize how much I enjoy this podcast.
Every episode you do.
Every episode, but every 6 months. And he, but he, I read an article, that an interview with him. It was an article though. I read it, and he was saying that he thinks we should stop teaching history at all in school, in grade school through high school. This is coming from a guy who was like,
hardcore history.
Yeah, like many people call him the greatest historian of our time, even though he like refuses to, call himself or admit to being an historian. And his basically, like I'm going to do a total like butchery of what he says, is he says the way that we treat history in high school, through all through primary school, is like trying to talk about the physiology of the body, and we look at the skin, like, and you're going to understand how are you going to understand what's in there when all you see is the outside, just the skin? And the truth is, much of the skin that you're looking at isn't even the true skin. That's bullshit skin. He's like, skip it, learn math and science, and then if you want to do history, learn in college, because you don't, or go on, because you're not,
when you can get you some Howard Zinn or some shit.
Yeah, what you learned in it, like, and so that, because in college, he said the first, when he first got into history in college, like they spent most of the time teaching him all the shit that he learned in high school that was wrong, like, because it's a propaganda tool in a lot of ways, teaching our history in high school. And then people are like, oh no, we got to teach them history, because if we don't know our history, we're doomed to repeat it. Yeah, then you should actually teach them history, because the shit you're teaching them is not even history. Like, we're doomed to repeat what? That George Washington cut down a fucking cherry tree and never told a lie?
Yeah,
like, that's it.
It fucks with our national narrative if we don't.
And we're always the good guy. We're the hero in every fucking story.
I remember when I was young, like them talking about manifest destiny, and it was not like a bad thing. They were like, they weren't like saying, and then it wasn't like that horrible policy of manifest destiny. If you don't know, manifest destiny was a policy of like how like the United States was was chosen by God essentially to own one sea to another sea. So the entirety of America was supposed to, ordained by God to be
mission accomplished.
Yeah. So,
of course, the other side of that, like, there's also like things like fucking, like, like you promote like white guilt and stuff like that. Cause like a lot of kids, like you ask them like, what is slavery? And they would be like, well, that's when the southern slave owners, like southern plantations. And I'm like, whoa.
Right.
That's where you think slavery came from?
That's the end of slavery, honestly.
Yeah.
Like we talked about this before.
It's
about
the end of mass scale slavery. Yeah.
Right. We talked about this before about how Napoleon, like I'm a big Napoleon fan, like a fan of Napoleon.
Oh, he was a tiny guy.
He actually wasn't even a tiny guy.
I'm not a fan of big Napoleon. I like the little one.
But he was a general who won. It does try and drive me nuts. Who won and then lost. And we think of Napoleon as a fucking joke, because he lost his last battle.
Yeah, he met his Waterloo. Right.
And he would, but he was a prize fighter that was past his prime, probably had syphilis at the time, was, like, it was just, there was a lot of shit going on, that a lot of extermination. So we only remember that last fight. We don't remember the amazing fights beforehand that he won, and against impossible odds in some cases.
Just like Rocky.
What I was
defeat out of syphilis too.
I guess what my point was is that it's kind of like that. That's a bad analogy because it makes it sound good, but like fucking human beings have been enslaving human beings all throughout history, in all cultures, including Native Americans. I mean, it was so fucking common for them to have other tribes as slaves.
You would be hard pressed to find a culture where whose history is devoid of slavery.
Well, how about the greatest democracy of all time, Greece? Oh no, that was slaves too. Yeah.
That reminds me of, you were talking about T-shirt hell earlier. It's one of my favorite T-shirt hell shirts. It says slavery gets shit done.
Right. I mean, but they talk about like Greece, like that was the only reason that amazing like society was able to exist is because some fuckers just sat around and did nothing because they had slaves to do it.
Well, I thought that was funny about like when I watched 300 because I wasn't familiar with the graphic novel. So when I watched 300, I'm like, if you didn't know anything about Sparta, you'd think these people put a really high premium on freedom. When the Spartans, they could like the Spartan boys could devote all their time and energy towards like honing their skills as warriors because they had subjugated the Helots. And they were their slaves. So like, you don't have to be when you don't have to farm and you don't have to do all this shit, you don't have to farm, you don't have to build. Yeah, you can be warriors, but that's, like, I was like, man, I hope that's not all people. And I'm like, yeah, nobody gives a fuck.
And there's kind of this misconception that like, oh yeah, that's true. There have been slaves all through history, except, but like slavery in America at the end of slavery, that was the worst time for. Dude, no, that's not even fucking true. I mean, Jesus Christ, Rome and the fucking gladiators, where people were like forced in slavery and made to fight to the death. And then there's people who
you're going to fight a lion,
right?
I don't want to fight a lion.
Good luck.
Sorry, buddy.
And then there's people who are like, yeah, but man, those guys. No, 1 in 1,000 of those guys became like.
But if you watch
heroes.
Spartacus, they're all really good looking and greased and had a lot of sex with each other.
Oiled up.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
so you're trying to point out that like Spartacus wasn't as historically accurate as I said that was, but
really
actually
bad.
That's not true. By the time you got to a Dama, I think is what it's called, like a gladiator school. You've already fought all the lions and you've done all this shit. You're the 1 in the 1,000 that got to go to the actual arena.
At what point was the wheel of pain involved?
Oh my God!
You know what? I've been noticing your abs. I think you're going to get promoted to general.
Are we having a serious conversation about slavery still?
Yes.
No.
Anyway. All I was saying is that slavery has happened throughout all of time, and there were many other time periods that were absolutely as horrible as the end of slavery in the U.S. That's it. Like,
yeah, really,
slavery's not good.
Like, if you look at our history and our prehistory, like, look at our species, like, this non-slavery thing is pretty new,
As far as humans go.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's this really cool book, and I can't remember the author's name, called Sapiens. Have you heard of it?
I feel like it's been brought up on a podcast that I've listened to.
And he goes through and he describes how basically through entire human history, we've been horrible to each other.
Oh,
and that's all we are. When
Yes.
tribe meets tribe, it always ends in blood. Intertribe is usually pretty good, but when tribe meets other,
Right.
it always ends in blood and slavery and pillaging.
I mean, it's kind of worked into the way we evolved. And not only humans, but like all creatures, because it makes sense for us to not commingle globally. You want to separate the herds so that when disease strikes, it doesn't wipe out everybody. So like it makes sense for that way of being it works that way. You want your tribe to be exclusive. But now we're running into a situation where we have this, global economy. We can talk to people across the world, and it's like very difficult.
Well, it's time to separate tribes into Mars and exoplanets, and
right. So you have to evolve.
Like The Expanse.
God,
Season 4 coming up.
What a great show!
Mm-hmm.
Great books too. Have you read those?
I have.
You
Wow,
really should.
this show is fucking great. Why would I?
Show's great, but because they're better, and not to take anything away. Well, I watched the show and loved it, but and then I was like, God, and I was really resistant to watch it because I really loved the show, or to read them because I really loved the show, and I was like, oh, I want to be disappointed in the book, and a lot of times whatever comes first, whatever, but nope, they did like the books are so they're as well written as the shows. They follow the same timelines. There's no like weird, they did just such a good job with both of them, but the book's just deeper. There's just more. You get more of the the roots go deeper with the characters and everything like that. And I just love it.
I have a question about the characters. Is it just me, or is the main prime character, and I can't remember his name off the top of my head, the least likable of all of them?
Yes.
I don't like that actor.
And
what's his name? What's his
the character's name? Shit.
Colton. Right?
Yeah.
Colton.
See, that's how much I like him.
Well, and I only know Amos's first name too, and he's pretty much my.
Well, I don't know if they have last names.
And then the Space Marine, was it Billy or something like that?
Bobby.
She's a badass.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, The Expanse is probably my favorite TV show.
Probably the best sci-fi. What didn't we just talk about this last week? It's one of the best sci-fi, like definitely one of the most realistic sci-fi.
Other than the Epstein drive or whatever it is, that is the only fakey thing they do.
That's not even fakey. Like the Epstein drive isn't faster than light.
No, it isn't. But it's non-relativistic. The author says so online.
Extra relativistic.
Whatever.
But I mean, it's like it but nothing defies the laws of possibility.
Yeah, they're not breaking light speed.
Yeah. So nothing is defying the laws of possibility. But yeah.
So slavery's bad.
Yes.
Is that what we established? I thought we were always like, oh, for it.
Yeah, the jury's out on that.
Oh my God, I got something to say. So did you even see the post I put? So I saw this post on Facebook about like it had been 100 years since women had got the right to vote, had won the right to vote, and I just got a little chuckle out of it and put a post on the spitballing site that said, Facebook has informed us that 100 years ago today, women got the right to vote, and we just wanted to say that Kyle and I are 100% against women's suffrage. No comments, nothing, and I was like,
I didn't even see it. And I keep track of that shit.
I didn't see it
crazy.
either. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's just a post on the spitballing website, and I was like, is this like dark because
they didn't get it?
They didn't get it?
They didn't get it.
Like, I was expecting at least some, like, mock protest. If you don't know, well, then you're a fucking idiot. But if you don't know, suffrage is the right to vote. So I was saying that Kyle and I are completely for ending women's right to vote. But it's just funny.
And you're also against them having opinions or driving and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Sam had to let me know.
But to be fair, I'm also against them wearing burqas. Less is more.
Same.
Yeah.
Sam had to let me know. I don't even remember what the fuck the joke was, but I made a joke on Facebook a couple weeks ago, and Sam was like, "That was too smart for me."
Oh yeah, I know. I saw that.
Fuck.
And it did. It's like someone.
Because I mean, and it's not often my sense of humor runs strongly towards the kind of puerile. I do not have a sophisticated sense of humor, so it doesn't happen very fucking often. But every once in a while, And somebody usually has to let me know. I'm like, why the fuck isn't this killing? And so somebody's got to let me know that might have been too smart for Facebook. And I'm like, motherfuck. I am not a smart man. How does this happen? I need to run this shit past people.
Yeah, just peel nuance right out of your head.
Oh, fuck. Should have went with a fucking fart joke.
Indeed. All right, we got anything else we want to talk about?
I got a bunch of worthless shit to talk about, but it's worthless
what else?
shit. No. I actually, last night I was sitting at the bar with Dave Bedeau.
His honor. We like to call him his honor.
I'm sorry.
His Excellency.
His haircut, Dave Bedeau. But I was like, oh, let's talk about the Joker, but neither of you have seen it, so it's just me talking to myself. Movies. I was going to talk about movies everybody, loves to hate or whatever. And there's nothing on here. I was like throwing shit out there like, socialism? Should we talk about Bernie? And I was like, no.
If you haven't seen the episode, and I talked too much about Joe Rogan, and Joe, if you want to come on the podcast, like, we'll be okay with that. Fuck, even Jamie, he can come on. But Bernie goes on Joe Rogan. Really good podcast. Really good. I mean, like, and I don't even know how I feel. Like, I think I've said before, like, I don't have any really strongly held opinions. The only really strongly held opinion I have is that I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. That's a strongly held opinion. So like you could sway me.
It resonates. I can feel it.
Yeah. And I think I remember when
is that like agnostic, like politics or
yeah. Well, I used to be a dyed in the wool atheist, and fucking then I met God. So what do you do? So it was a damn teacher. Okay, you just had this look like, what are you talking about? Is he gonna get religious on me? But yeah, I just don't have any really strongly held opinions. Like, I feel like, back when Bob Kerry, they always remember when he was running for president, and they were always like,
John Kerry.
Oh, John Kerry, that's right. Who's Bob Kerry?
Is his stupid brother. He doesn't know what he's doing.
Oh, I remember Bob Kerry too. But when John Kerry was running for president, they were always like, oh, he like flip flops, and I was like, that's a good thing. It's a good thing. Like, if not, like, it's not a good thing to have an opinion on something and then change that opinion because you think it's going to get you votes or something. But it is a good thing to be like, I think this. Oh, more information has come in. You're right. I think this. Like, that's called
the ability to change your mind.
Reasoning. Yeah. But it feels like today, like, if a fucking politician shows a reason, we crucify him for it. Which we could bring back crucifixion.
Yeah, I'd be okay with some politicians being crucified.
Right.
Just a select few.
Yeah.
Matt Gaetz.
I was thinking of Mitch McConnell. But
Jim Jordan.
I don't know anybody. They're all.
You can take some Democrats too. I mean, there's some pretty shitty ones out there.
Yeah. You just have to look a little harder to find them.
You weren't talking into your microphone.
I know.
You're a fucking. Let's redo the whole thing.
Yeah. And welcome back to Spitball.
My good buddy Collinson.
Oh my God. Mocking me. All right.
Pretty easy.
What else you got? What fucking time is it?
All right. It's like 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm starting.
Let's go. I've had 7 bottles of water.
All right. So we are still going to have an episode next week, but and we had said this last time, that it was going to be just me and Kyle today, but then we decided to have Sam on. Kyle, you're going on vacation.
Yes.
And where are you going?
I'm going to Florida.
Oh, that place we make fun of.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, that'll
You
be
might
fun.
be Florida man.
I might be.
So Kyle's going to be gone for a week, but he's going to come back on Saturday, son?
Just to do the podcast.
And then we're going to do a podcast on Sunday. It probably won't be a super long one. And we're going to try very hard to get it up right away that night. So next Sunday.
We're going to try so hard to get it up.
What the fuck is he talking about? He's going to go home, and I'm going to try really hard to get it up. I got these blue pills.
Because it's easy to get it up when I'm here. But when I'm gone, not so much.
Yeah. So we will see you next Sunday, hopefully. And that will be just me and Kyle. And then we don't really know what's going on after that. We got some people in the hopper. So it'll be cool. Well, thanks for coming on again, Doctor.
Yeah, thanks, man. It's fun.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And again, appreciate all your help on.
And thank you, ballers, for listening, watching.
All 5 of you.
Yes.
Yes. Well, we've definitely lost a few after this one.
Probably.
Sorry.
All right. We'll see you next time.
I've had enough of both of you assholes.
Oh, my God. I don't win.
So you
I've had enough
really
of me.
think that fucking that a cop should have less of a right to defend themselves than a regular person?
Well, hear me out.
I didn't understand. Hey, thanks everybody for tuning in to the podcast again. Man, I sure wish we hadn't fucked up that first hour. Sorry if my energy was low. I mean, 9 days with no food and 3.5 hours of sitting at 60 degrees was pretty tough. But it was fun. And yeah. So today we're going to revisit a band called Crew Jones. They're a rural rap band out of Duluth, Minnesota. These guys are so much fun. They're pretty much defunct these days. I do think they every once in a while play a show, but they're no longer an actively playing band. But man, they just are so good. And this song is called 13th Chapter, and it's about an older brother kind of giving advice to his younger brother, and I think it's great. I'm just gonna read a part of the song to you so you don't miss it, because they do go pretty fast, and I think these lyrics are just great. So here's the line. It's post haste, young squire. Don't let a regular brother be the sum of what you admire. 'Cause I can build a better campfire. I can rap much better than you, and I wear my pants tighter. But other than that, I'm just old enough. I got a better grip on my goals and stuff. Just enough to hold it up. It's not like I drink beer from a golden cup. That's fucking poetry, guys. Check them out. See you next time.
Down a darkened block, maybe to the back of the parking lot. Remember how we used to just scope for cops on a warm summer night? We were smoking pot, and that's the way it always was back then. I told my brother not to do it, but I'd do it again if I ever had a second chance. Guess I'm not a role model, I'm just a man. Post haste, young squire. Don't let a regular brother be the sum of what you admire. 'Cause I can build a better campfire. I can rap much better than you, I wear my pants tighter. But other than that, I'm just old enough. I've got a better grip on my goals and stuff. Just enough to hold it up. It's not like I drink beer from a golden cup. You don't know what life can be. You're just junior bacon cheese. Take what you wanna take from me. I didn't watch you come up so you could fake a steez. You come across like you know what you want, but do you really want it? Are you willing to pay the cost? You can't turn back now. There's a river to cross, and I don't have a boat, and I'm not your boss, but I'm on the other side. You tell me that my metaphor's tired, and I can't deny. That's what I get for talking shit like I know what's right. Then you can take it or leave it as idle chatter. Even if you don't believe, at least I said it, that's what matters. But after the laughter, call me when you get to the 13th chapter. Will I ever really leave them downs? On the dock of the bay, I sit talking away. My mind stretched this evening out. Without love in the south, you won't never find peace. At least that's the way I see it now. These mistakes that I made, more the stops on the way, they teach me everything. remembering. Finger picking the way through the thick of your day like country cousin would. Are we ever gonna buy? Are we ever gonna see bright fields of brotherhood? Love like no other could. Let fall those covers should. Let fools and folks shine on like true brotherly colors would. You feel it, I can tell. My heart with fondness swells. You can't transform with change, pill for dough out them wishing wells. Don't condescend to the hearts and minds of man. Don't spark the darkness with answering. Gentle next of kin. Don't be the rock that cuts my flesh in the river that I swim. Be key to lock when the needle drop with your band of brethren. Yo, seed your crop in the river low. Bestow your reverence. Got love enough for all. Always.